Well, well, well. Wellington. Hi. How we doing? Huh? Actually, don't know if anyone can see me yet. Hold on. Oh, yes, we can. Hello, we're in business. It has been exactly a month. Well, a month and a couple of days since my last stream. It's been a while. It has been a hot minute or two or three or many. Yeah. Hold on. Let me reorganize my messages real quick so I can keep track of everybody. That's always a challenge. One that I never do that well. Anyway, I forgot Genshin. Wait, what? Who forgot Genshin? We're literally talking about Genshin now. How am I doing? Oh yeah. So I'm gonna let this kind of just like roll in the background for a little bit. I might just let this roll in the background for a little bit. I'm gonna just let people roll in and say hi. I'll give you guys a bit of an update on where I've been and what I'm doing and what I plan to be doing in the future because it's been a hell of a couple of months. Oh yeah, Google's doing that weird thing with the ads again. I don't know. Yeah. I don't quite understand the live stream ad stuff. Like I understand the video ones. I have a really hard time understanding the actual like live stream ones. I don't quite understand how it decides when and how to put them in. I know you can manually trigger an ad, but you can't really stop them. It's quite confusing. Anyway, yeah. So basically, those of you who aren't aware, and that's probably like 90% of you, I kind of slowed down a lot of my uploads like the last couple of months. A lot of that was due to burnout, not from Genshin or lore or anything, but from like life in general. So I've been in the process of transitioning through my work job. I put in my notice at my job. What was it, like three weeks ago or something like that? As I'm helping them transition off. So I will be shifting my focus to YouTube for a while, for full-time ish, while I kind of resort things out and figure out where I'm going because I don't want to work in web development anymore. I'm done. I quit. That's it. I'm over. No more. So I've decided I'm built for physical labor and I miss it and I want to go do that again. So I'm gonna go do that again. I don't know whether I'm gonna go renew my electrical license or if I'm going to try working at one of the local mushroom cultivation facilities, which sounds really fun. But I'm gonna do something like that. So I'm transitioning off. So you're gonna see a change in content just a little bit. We're still gonna have plenty of Genshin theories and recaps and lore analyses and everything. But as some of you may have noticed, I have added Star Rail back into the equation because Penacony exceeded expectations, and I was pretty happy with it. So that was nice. So I'm gonna try doing that. I don't think I'll do anything super complicated, but I do have some fun little mini theory ideas I haven't seen anywhere, so I plan to make those, but chances are my Star Rail videos will be less, what's the word, less detailed and crazy I think than my Genshin was, but I think that's okay. I've also I also, just like basically every other CC out there, I have been playing Wuthering Waves, and I don't know how many of you know this, probably not many because I don't think I really announced it, but I got into the second closed beta for Wuthering Waves, and I was going to make a review of it, and then I realized that half the text in the game was missing, and it just didn't seem fair to sort of talk about the writing or the lore or anything when I literally couldn't read anything. Um, so there's that. And so I wanted to wait until the game actually came out, or they had a third beta, which I didn't realize they couldn't do. And so I've been playing the live version that has all of the text, and voiceover, which is convenient. And I've decided it's probably not a game for me. I don't think it's a game I'll be covering. Mostly because I just don't think I can mentally handle 2 live service open worlds. Um, I don't think I can. I think I'll really, really struggle, and I think that will put me at risk of burnout. So it's probably going to be one of those games that I like pick up and play once or twice a patch, and play through the story kind of casually and that kind of stuff. But I don't think I'll actually make anything for it. The lore has good bones, I think. I thought this in the closed beta too, from like what I could gather from what text was actually available in my version. But I'm really not a fan of the story right now. It does get better in Acts 5 and 6, like considerably. And actually it starts in 4. It starts getting better in 4, and then it gets pretty good in 5 and in the finale. But it also, like, I felt like I kind of speed ran through an 80-hour JRPG. And so I kind of have these weird mixed feelings on it. Like, there's a lot I like about the game, but then there's a lot that I just, like, I don't think I can suspend disbelief long enough to stay immersed in order to create things for it, if that makes sense. So there's that. There's that. So, I mean, it's a good game, though. I think it's a lot of fun to play with the combat and all that. But I'm not really a sweaty combat gamer. I'm a very much a completionist, so like if there is an end game mode, I want to clear it. But I don't really like min-maxing all that much. Like, it's not something I enjoy doing. I just really like having 100% in things. So, I feel like that game will be quite dangerous for me in terms of a time sink if I do really get into it. So there's that. However, that said, one game that I wanted to play even before Star Rail came out was Zenless Zone Zero, and I do plan on covering that game. If you think there's not lore in that game, surprise! But I actually think that that game is one that has the best writing that Hoyo has put out so far, period. Like, it's not even a contest. Like, it's not even close. And I'm not talking in terms of just story. I'm just talking in terms of writing quality. I think it's actually their best written game. And I love the aesthetic. It actually appeals to me. Most of the types of games that I really like fall more into that bracket. So that one I will end up covering. It's a lot less time intensive, and I have played in 2 of the betas. So I'm quite familiar with the intricacies of that game, and I've seen what they've done to change things up and everything like that. And it's doable, it's manageable, and yeah. So. Anyway, I think that's mostly it. I think, like, channel update stuff. I'll put together like a little prepackaged thing for people who don't watch the stream. I expect that's most of you. But that's kind of why I've been behind on everything. A lot of you have probably noticed I'm considerably late on a lot of stuff. And it's because of A, life burnout, and then B, just overwhelmed and having a hard time gathering mental energy to actually create things. Because creating things takes a lot of energy, especially if you want to create things that, you feel okay sharing. So there's that. Anyway, I think that's everything I have for now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess we're gonna talk about the live stream now. I've stalled long enough. I just realized this is on 480p for some god awful reason. Yeah, I saw Sayu was doing that, and I was like, "Yep, it's time to go into my hole and not come back." Oh, the other thing I was gonna say, the one last thing. Because I will have a more flexible schedule going forward, due to me changing careers. Because of that, I will be trying to stream at least twice a month, and I'm gonna try to do it weekly, but we'll see. Because I'm also adding more content, I'm not quite sure if it's realistic to stream a lot more often. But I'm gonna try. This is the first time I've actually had the opportunity where I can reasonably say I am in a position to regularly stream, which is crazy. So yeah. And it's just in time too, because honest to God, I am so unprepared for Natlan, it's not even funny. Like it's not even funny. I feel like I was preparing for Sumeru, like, oh my God, and maybe version 2.4 or something. Like patches ahead. And here we are like 2 patches away from Natlan, and it's like, yeah, I haven't even started. I'm not even done with Fontaine yet. um yeah. Okay, we might be 3 months away. I got a lot to cover. There's a lot to cover. Um yeah. Yeah. So anyway, the one thing I will say is while I'm not particularly familiar with a lot of South and Central American mythology, like in the particulars, I am quite familiar with North American, Native American mythology, at least from some multiple Northeastern tribes and multiple Western tribes. Because weirdly, I have spent a lot of time in with tribes in both locations. Some for family reasons, and some just because I lived in an area where they threw a lot of events and they were open to the public, and my family used to go, and I got to know a lot from that. So I grew up kind of listening to those fables and fairy tales and all that little folklore. So that's cool. I'm curious to see how much they'll pull from that, because right now it does seem mostly Mesoamerican, but like fingers crossed. Like the one thing I want to see in Natlan is Anasazi inspiration. I really want to see a carved in rock wall city. I think that's like the one thing I want to see. And given so let's pause this for a second. Given that like we see Natlan over here, I think, is this also on 480? Oh no, it's on 720. Seeing how like they have all these flat cliff faces and everything, I am quite hopeful that at some point in Natlan we're gonna get one of those walls, like one of those wall cities. I'll be so excited. Mm. I will say I think they're gonna so it does okay, so from what I recall from my kind of preliminary foray, of which I've done very little, again, I've done very little. So I'm not going to speculate too hard on particulars right now. I would like some time to actually do my research, because I can at the very least acknowledge when I don't know things. And I don't want to sort of tread into territory when I absolutely know nothing. I like to be very clear on when I'm speculating about something that I might know something about, and when I'm speculating on something that I know nothing about. This happens to be something I know very, very little about right now. So I need to dig a little bit. So I won't speculate on that. But what I will say from what I remember is it seems like Natlan is going to take all of South, Central, and at least part of North America, and I'm going to say half of Africa. And I say half of Africa because Sumeru was kind of like a lot of Asia, Southeast Asia, Middle East, and then North Africa. And I think because of Iansen and the cultural exchange that happened between a lot of African nations and South America, I think it was. I think it's like mostly in Brazil and stuff like that. Because there's some cross-cultural stuff going on there. I think they will be taking more from there, which will be nice to see. So I don't think we're getting freedom land. I don't think we're getting like America as it is today. I think we're getting, Native America. I would kind of prefer that. Yeah. Australia. I don't know about Australia. I mean, I guess. I mean, okay, so at the very least, this little guy has the most Banjo-Kazooie vibe, or like Crash Bandicoot. I'm probably showing my age here, but I don't know what it is, but like the colors that they chose and kind of like the swoops and the shapes and everything, it feels very Crash Bandicoot slash Banjo Kazooie for me. And I am here for it. I really like it. I really like it. I'm very excited. One of my friends pointed out that this actually looks quite a bit like some areas in Venezuela, which is I think is really cool. It also reminds me of a lot of places out west in Colorado, where they have like the well, like Mesa Verde, like that kind of area, which I think is really cool. More Spyro vibe. Yeah, I mean it does have Spyro. I mean, yeah, okay, I see the Spyro. Spyro's fair, but like, let's be real, okay? Like Spyro and Crash Bandicoot are like from the same era, right? Like it. There was this whole era of gaming with these like little animal creature companions, and they would go through these, you know, different worlds and that kind of stuff, and they were always brightly colored with fun, wacky shapes and all that. And I loved them. I loved these sorts of games. They were just fun, you know. I lost my thing. Where is it? Oh, yeah. Wait, I wanted to look at the flying one a little bit more. So yeah, I do think I just saw that, like, I do think this one is also a Saurian. Cuz like they've got a similar mouth shape. And also this, I don't know if you can see this symbol, well, not the symbol, but like the shape of its head. It actually looks quite a bit like, you know, I think it's reasonable to call it either this one or this one, you know? I think it looks like these a bit. I'm not quite sure which one I think it is, but either one works. I'm okay with it. And I got like this one I know is the water one that you swim with, but this one reminds me so much of oh, what are they called? Yeah, they're called magmas. I don't know why they remind me of magmas. They remind me of magmas. I love these things. I love these. Okay, but like how they're gonna work though, I don't think I've seen people speculating about mounts for forever. I don't think these are actually mounts. These feel like So Rush or the Wave Rider or that kind of thing. Like it feels like we'll find them in the overworld and we'll be able to kind of like possess them or let them carry us for a while. I kind of feel like, or spirit, yeah, like a transformation thing. Maybe it's a gadget. Maybe we capture the soul of, like, not the soul, but like the essence of little dragons or something, and then we can use them to sort of shift into forms for a set period of time. I think that would be kind of cool. Yeah. They technically are mounts. The traveler doesn't need to ride them for them to be mounts. Okay, but the word mount is like you mount something, not you transform into something. Like, I don't, if someone says we're getting mounts, we're getting rideable things, right? Like, otherwise, you're not mounting anything. You are transforming into something else. Maybe that's pedantic. Maybe that's just semantics. It's kind of whatever. Do we count So Rush as a mount? Do we really? No, I don't turn into a horse anytime I go horseback riding. I don't like riding horses. Which is funny to say. I grew up with a lot of horses around. After I got headbutted by that horse that one time, that was my very first black eye. I got like a horse just like came at me after it got spooked because a barn door slammed shut from the wind, and it just came at me and it took off, like it hit me right in the face with its forehead, and it just kept going and I went flying. And after that I'm like, yep, okay, I'm done with horses. This is enough. I didn't really care much for it at that point, but yeah. Okay, you know what? Semantically, sure, mounts. If you want to call them that, I would call them something else, because like if that's the case, then the Wave Rider is a mount, I guess. I don't. I just don't. If we turn into a Lapras in a Pokemon game, is it a mount? I mean, we're supposed to surf on its back, right? Oh, okay. I'm getting way too. Getting way too caught up in the details here. There's really cool stuff in here, though. They've previewed volcanoes. They've previewed these, like, jungle caves. I can't tell if these are, like, just floating or if we're coming out of a sort of cave-like area. It seems like they're floating. Like these. And I don't know what these are. But they're very strange. This is kind of something that I would expect to see in, like, Snezhnaya, like a winter area, like Dragonspine, like floating snow icicles and that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Squared off marks in the platforms in the lava area are very familiar, are they? Okay, so when I say I am completely unprepared for this stream, I mean I've literally watched everything once. And I have not had time at all to look at anything. And I won't have time until June. This is my only free spot. You're kind of okay. Are you thinking Zhongli for these sorts of things? The markings on the lava on this thing, because it does have that vibe, that kind of square gold on the yeah. I get it. It's interesting to me that the swimmer one can go in the lava though. That's pretty cool. Because it kind of implies that they're not necessarily elemental aligned, you know? More like Aztec markings. I mean, yeah. And I think we're actually finally getting quite the jungle. It is interesting, too, that they decided to show the Saurians before they showed a single playable character from Natlan. Not even playable. A single NPC from Natlan. Because the guy who's doing the Saurian event, he's not even from Natlan, is he? That's kind of crazy. All of them have orange hues. Can we go into the lava? I mean, this guy's swimming in the lava. Look at him. He's swimming in the lava. So, like, yeah, we've got to be able to go in here somehow. I would assume that probably if we're the traveler and we go into the lava, we're either going to have instant death or, well, I think instant death would be too much. I bet it'll just, like, set us on fire and then we'll have extreme HP drain. I think that'll be that. Derp C, thank you for the super. I kind of hope that one of them flies so that we can fly, but that would make me wonder whether or not we could fly outside of Natlan. Okay, so I think all of these here, I think all of these will become a Saurian that we can eventually engage with. It just seems like for now, these are the 3 that they're showcasing. And I'm wondering if in 5.0, these are the 3 that we'll have access to. Which would mean that in, 5.2, 5.4, maybe we'll get, this one and this one and this one. Like all the ones that we don't get yet. You know what I mean? I think that would, 6 Saurians for 6 tribes. Yeah. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I wonder if the elemental sprinters or Farina could walk on lava. I'm gonna say probably not. Well, maybe the elemental sprinters. That would be interesting. What game am I thinking? I think I'm thinking of Breath of the Wild or, well, actually, most Zelda games. Most Zelda games, you can put water on lava and then create platforms that you can walk over. So, like, I wonder if Mona, at the very least, could do it and then create little stone platforms. That would be a really, 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 really cool thing. Spike Bebop, thanks for the super. Were you surprised that Natlan is super colorful and vibrant? No, I was expecting it. But I am pleasantly surprised to see that my expectations were met. I guess that's still surprise, isn't it? I'm glad it's as bright as it is. I'm glad that came to pass. I would have been very sad if it wasn't colorful and bright and cheery and it was like the desert 2.0. Like, as much as I like the desert because of its contrast to everything else, right? Like, Sumeru is this big, green, open, kind of oasis-style forest, right? Mushrooms all over the place and everything. So, like, it feels very vegetative. It's coming over from Liyue, which has all these big, interesting different landscapes, and then Mondstadt's got the big sweeping green cliffs and everything. Then you get to the desert, it's just sand. Just sand for miles. Or kilometers, I guess, for you over in that are not American. Freedom! That's a joke. Not a good one. But that's okay. But yeah, no, so I didn't want this to be the desert again. Because like one desert is enough. I think we're good on that. And I think the desert works because it is so contrasted with everything else, with just like how I don't want to say one note it is, but like that's basically the idea. Because like if I say it's one note, like it feels like it's a bad thing, but I actually think it's fine. Just because the contrast is there with all of the surrounding regions, right? Like the idea of having something be devoid of a lot of interesting features is also a feature. But I didn't want that for Natlan. Did not want that for Natlan. I wanted Natlan to be full of all sorts of stuff. And like I saw someone shared on Discord a really interesting little post about the types of rocks that these are and everything, which I thought was really cool. I might post that in the comment afterwards so people can see it. But like we saw some graffiti and stuff like that, which I also think is really cool. Lots of wall paintings, which also gives us more opportunity for color. And I actually do wonder if they're gonna do a bit of Crash Bandicoot here. Just because, like, if you look at just this spot right here, just like running up this ramp and then up these steps, it looks like a platforming level. Like this is a checkpoint sign and all that. I don't know. I might just be coping. It's so cute. But that's what it feels like to me, and I like it. Oh look, he's in the mural right here. Oh, that's adorable. That's adorable. Absolutely adorable. Okay, you know that they're gonna make plushies of these, right? Like you know that. There's no way they don't. If they don't, I don't know. I don't know. They have to. They're so cute. I love them. I love them. I don't even have a favorite. I don't even have a favorite. Like I know I said the water one from their little sprite looks like the magmas from Skyward Sword, but actually these guys also just remind me of magmas. But they also do look like the Geo Bishops. But I think it's interesting that they talked about like the Bishops evolving. Well, I guess Nuvolette did. Nuvolette talked about the Bishops evolving in a way that they could coexist with humans. I think it's very funny that they evolved into Pokemon-ish forms to coexist with humans. Like that wasn't exactly how I was expecting that to go. You know, when they say evolve in order to be like that was not quite the mental image. That's not where my mind went. Jellygish, thanks for the super. I love the Saurians so much I want to eat them. Me too. Except then I would be very sad because I wouldn't have mine anymore. I would be so sad. You're Guatemalan, so I'm hoping for some Mayan stuff. Yes, absolutely. I think we're gonna get such a mix. I do wonder. I don't think they'll do this, but I do wonder if they're gonna try and use the tribes as a method of creating more intentional representation, if that makes sense. Like they might I think there'll still be blends, but I think they might try to do a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. They tend to like to just blend things in general, so that's probably not going to be what happens. They like to keep things quite blended. But this triquetra is the most intentional thing ever. Before Natlan, I have got to put together my Sealies Are Dragons video. I gotta finish that. It's been on the back burner for ages. You also hope they make Wolfie plushies? Oh yeah, no, we'll get to that. Oh, we got stuff to talk about there. I might stop the Natlan stuff here in a minute, just because like there's basically just this trailer and it's mostly the Saurians and I love them to bits. Like, we can wall swim! We can wall swim! I love it! I feel like a baptismal bishop, but I'm Geo. Or Is it Geo? Yeah, I guess he's Geo, right? Yeah. It's just that, like, I'm guessing he's Geo. It's just that he's, like, putting off this magma. That's the another thing. I'm wondering if a lot of these Saurians have multiple elements, because, like, the Baptismal bishops were able to adapt to their environment and take up different um, elements depending on the circumstances, which I thought was really cool. And it looks like they might address something like that. It just looks like Pyro to me, but he's also Geo drilling into the earth. And then you've got this Hydro guy who's like swimming in fire. Well, not fire, but magma. And the Dendro kind of just feels Dendro-y. And that's it. He doesn't really feel like he has a second one. But he does have Nahida eyes, which I think is very suspicious. Very suspicious. Watch this. Like he's got the little things, the little pluses in his eyes. You see that? Coincidence? I think not. Oh, I've been ignoring chat. I'm sorry. it happens. John Lellies, thank you for the super. Ironic that the bishops evolved to cohabitate with humans in Natlan, among other places. Yeah, in the Nation of War, right? I don't know. I mean, obviously the war seems a bit more ceremonial than anything else. Like, it doesn't really seem like the nation is constantly at war, necessarily. So that'll be interesting. Hey, look, he even has, like, Zhongli's eyeliner. That's funny. But I guess it is true. Like, that would assume that out of all of the nations, Natlan has the probably closest relationship with dragons in general, as opposed to anywhere else. That would require some investigation as to why that might be. But man, I really want to know why they won't show us any Natlan NPCs. But okay, you have the funniest screen name I think I've ever seen in my chat. PepsiCo Organ Farming Division. Thanks for the super. At work, so I can't stay. Just wanted to give support while you're live. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy watching this back later. I'm aiming to be at least somewhat entertaining background noise. Yeah. It does require some investigate. Okay, well, listen, I do have to do a Natlan speculation video. I do want to do one. I'm also gonna try and collect all of the Natlan speculations that I've seen so far, so I can just compile them, not in a video, but like just to like have them in one place, so that anyone who wants to get their fill of Natlan before it comes out, all the Natlan speculations and collect them and everything, they'll all kind of be in one place. And by one place, I mean like I'm gonna put links in a list. Just to be clear. I do want to do that. Because I know several of my fellow content creators, at the very least, as well as many people on Reddit, whose theories I have kind of just like saved to read later, that I kind of skim through. I'm just like, oh, this is really good, but I am not mentally prepared to even come close to absorbing any of this. There's a lot of that I think is I'd like to share with others so that they can see that. But yeah. It bothers me that Enka lore said dragons can't become human, and yet Nouvelette exists. Yeah, so Enka's full of shit. Listen, everything is dragons, and I think I can prove it, but it requires taking a closer look at Penacony. And it's like, it's so, how do I put this? It is so red string on a corkboard, it's not even funny. But the themes and narratives all work out between 3 different games, and I'm like, oh, we know exactly how Genshin is structured now. We know exactly how this world works. That's bizarre. I'm gonna put that together at some point. Wait, huh? Penacony? Yeah. No, the Star Rail thing with the Penacony. Like, obviously, most of Penacony was like referring to Genshin allegorically. But when I started thinking about the mechanics of it while I was putting together the recap for the story, I was like, wait a second. This actually fits every idiosyncrasy that Teyvat has. Every single one. It fills in all of the question mark blanks that I had when I was doing both of my attempts at world structure. And I'm like, huh, isn't that interesting? If it ends up being wrong, it ends up being wrong. But if it ends up being wrong, it's still ridiculous how alike, like how many similarities there are. It feels like one of those things that's just not done on accident. But yeah. Enka is still reliable. Hydra, yeah, okay. So I say Enka's full of shit. It like kind of, you know, it's not all of it, but you know, like science can be wrong. You know, like a hypothesis is just a claim that hasn't been disproven yet. Like it's not law. It's not like forever, right? When you work in Enka, they were doing lots of experiments and everything, and like at that point, they were like, "Yeah, our hypothesis is that dragons probably can't become humans." And so far, everything that we've thrown at that has proven that to not be false. So that is our standing hypothesis until we find some way for that to not be false. And yet, in similar books, it keeps going and says, "Yeah, well, the Hydra dragon's going to be born in the shape of a human." It's like, well, wait a minute, that goes against your hypothesis. It's like, yeah, well, whatever. That's why there's a difference between theories, laws, and hypothesis. Yes, Coca-Cola. Oh, that's fun. Sorry, I read your name wrong. I like it. Coca-Cola. What would that taste like? Like chocolate cola? I really want to try that now. Like carbonated hot chocolate, but without the milk. Mm. Mm. I'm fascinated. I know you probably did not intend for that, but I just saw someone make like a Cool Ranch butter so that they could put Cool Ranch on everything. They just kind of like whipped it with the Cool Ranch mix, and I was like, okay, a bit too far. Isn't it literally the same plant? No. Well, no, because Coca-Cola is actually like a mix of cloves and cinnamon and citrus and all sorts of other things. So I'm thinking like a pure chocolate soda. That would be a very different flavor. Very different flavor. Is that what Yoo-hoo is? I have never had Yoo-hoo. After carbonated chocolate. Okay, but sometimes they put like those malt balls inside of chocolate, right? And then like, or they sometimes also coat malt balls in chocolate, and those kind of have a fizzish kind of sensation. It could work. Malted chocolate, right? Yoo-hoo is not carbonated. I have no idea. I've never had it. Still stuck on Orobashi being the odd one out in the group among Decarabian, Destrit, and Remus. Well, he wasn't necessarily a god king. He was a little different. Although thinking of Orobashi in the same light as a god king is interesting. I guess it would depend on whether or not we actually had a demon name for him, which we don't yet. Would be nice to have one. If only because the last time we tried to hypothesize about like Guizhong, for example, having a demon name of Gujin or Guizhon, depending on how you want, or yeah, depending on how you want to say it. They're like, nope, her name's Agentis, and we're just like, what? How are we supposed to guess that? So is Havria not Havris? Is Osail not Ose? Because then you also have like in Remuria, the cat's name is Ose, and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. You almost spelled Enkanomiya, right? Yeah, it's there's it's Miya. Miya. That one. So I am very excited. I think they're gonna do Natlan quite a bit of justice. I love that they're also gonna add this sort of pop city vibe in such an organic environment. I love that mixture. I think that's gonna be super cool. So I'm stoked. I can't wait until um I cannot wait until we get to the 4.7 live stream. I say as if I'm not dreading going through 4.7 and the sheer amount of lore bombs I'm gonna have to suffer through. But I can't wait till the Natlan preview for 4.7. But I think that's enough Natlan for now. But like there's a lot to kind of shift through here, guys. There's a lot. Obviously we've got Claran coming up. I don't really know what to expect from her. Just because like I feel like we haven't spent a whole lot of time with her as of right now. You know? When is 4.7 coming out? In like 2 weeks, I think. Is that right? Um Do I think that Natlan's ideals will actually be war? I feel like this is contradictory with all the new info we've gotten and what we know about the Archons. Okay, so the thing about ideals is that there's always a twist to them, right? The thing about freedom, for example, which is actually something that we haven't explored, is that the concept of freedom is actually also a concept of chaos in a sense, because if you are too free, you basically have no rules, right? And you can kind of start extrapolating that outwards and outwards and outwards. And you can sort of see that every ideal sort of has a positive side, a negative side, or maybe even a twist to it where a contract isn't technically a contract, or eternity isn't stasis, but transience, or wisdom isn't knowledge, but like a combination of empathy and internalized experience combined with knowledge, right? Like it's a whole mess of different things. So I do think it's a bit of a mistake to boil it down to just Natlan is a nation of war. Natlan might be a nation of transition. Um, Saying this because if you think about war as sort of like a symbolic, um, like what war brings and that kind of stuff. How do I how do I phrase this in a way that's actually gonna make sense outside of my head? That's a good question. I'm gonna do this with an allegory. Actually, I think that'll be easier. Um, when I think war, I usually think like the flames of war for no reason whatsoever. But like when I think about fire and destruction and all that other kind of stuff, I basically think of fire sweeping large swaths of land, like a wildfire, a forest fire. And obviously, it's very destructive and it does a lot of damage. But in the end, what it does is it clears the way and preps the ground for new growth to come back. And sometimes that war is necessary. And by war, I mean like that fire was necessary in order to clear out diseased areas of trees or to take care of all of these old trees that were not decomposing because there was a drought and now there's no like fungi in the soil to like hold moisture and things like that, right? You need to actually have organic matter that decomposes down into it. If I think of Natlan's concept of war more in those terms, I think of it more like, you know, the ode to resurrection, right? You raise the ground, you burn the field, and suddenly the ashes become the perfect soil or fertilizer for something new to come up. It's almost like revolution in a way. It's like preparation for revolution, I guess, if that makes sense. Pyro in rebirth, Natlan in rebirth. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think that's how I'm thinking of it. I don't know if that's where we'll go. I don't know if that's what's actually happening. I'm gonna look more into that when I start doing more intensive research for a Natlan speculation um video, which I will be putting together. Um, but yeah, yeah. Anyway, I do think that's enough. Oh, Renadelis, thank you for the super. All in GI is biased. Love that. See Ajax about Arlight. Yeah, I mean, Genshin is totally a game about unreliable narrators. You know, everyone's got their opinions, everyone's got their bias, so that's very realistic. And sometimes that realism is incredibly frustrating because you're just like, well, you contradicted yourself, and the game's just like, yeah, but like I didn't contradict anything. This character has an opinion, and I'm just sharing it with you, and I'm just like, dang it! Why would you do this to me? It's so rude. Yeah, it's kind of a rare thing to get. Unreliable narration is actually a very difficult thing to do, especially at scale. So a lot of the times I find this to be quite impressive. Because like when you're writing something, oftentimes you're just like, I should just let this play again. I don't know why I have this on pause. I'm sorry. This is probably really boring to watch, although I don't know how many of you are watching the screen. Probably not that many. That's okay. What was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. That's okay. We're done. I'm kidding. Yeah. We are actually done because I actually completely lost my train of thought. It's gone. It left the station, and I am like many stations behind at this point. Oh, unreliable narration. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, that's very difficult to do at scale. So I find it both frustrating and admirable to have that kind of thing in here. Because like as a writer, you tend to want to lead people to the correct conclusion, and oftentimes it's not intuitive to mislead people in a way that is not technically lying to them outright. A lot of writers who try to create mystery novels will just create lots of lies, and then the twist doesn't feel satisfying. So it's actually quite difficult to do well, and Genshin doesn't always do it well, but sometimes it does. Oftentimes it does, actually. It actually has a pretty good success rate with that, which I think is cool. I'm quite a fan of that. I have things to say about Sijuan, though. I want to talk about her non-Melusine-ness just a little bit. Just a little bit. A little bit. Romancia, thank you for the super. Like how Bennett treated a wound by burning himself, since it's speculated that Bennett is from Natlan. Yes, that's a pretty good one. Yeah, if you have an open wound and you apply like fire to it, you can cauterize it. Might not be the best way to deal with your wound, but like you can do that. Certainly can. Funny thing about that though, like the whole Bennett is from Natlan speculation thing. I don't know how many of you have played through the Saurian event, like the current one. But the guy in the event talks about this folktale from Natlan. I forget exactly how it goes. I obviously have the recording. I don't want to go get it right now. But it was about a guy who basically was so unlucky that even the sun didn't like him, and so the sun was like hiding from him and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, oh, I'm not the only person who thought this, but like, first thought when you think about someone who is so unlucky that even the sun doesn't want to look at him, I mean, the first thing you think of is Bennett. Oh no, it was the guy's dad who did something that the sun didn't like. And when I say sun, I mean like the sun in the sky, not SON. But yeah. Bennett is interesting. I actually have, okay, so I see you, supers. I see you. I'll get to you in a second, but I can't lose my train of thought again, or it's gonna be bad. We'll come back to you, Sijuan. I'm sorry. Something interesting about Mondstadt. I don't know if anyone's noticed. I actually think the entire game, and a lot of the characters within the game have been foreshadowed in characters that exist in Mondstadt. And Bennett is actually a pretty good example of one of the characters that would be foreshadowing things in Natlan. And I have a hypothesis about Mondstadt in general, like why we haven't really explored there, but why we started our journey there. And by explored, I mean like thematically explored the area, not like explored the nation of Natlan. And it basically boils down to like Mondstadt is kind of this nation of fairy tales and stories and folklore and fables and that kind of stuff. Like Klee is basically Little Red Riding Hood, and Razor is supposed to be the big bad wolf who's not really big and bad. Lisa is like the storybook witch, right? You start like disseminating all of the sort of tropes that are in Mondstadt, and you start to see those little patterns, and you're like, huh. And now that Imaginarium Theater is coming in, we're seeing that that's also very storybook based. Like it's based on the Boar Princess, for example. Or at least this one is. I don't know if it'll always be based on that, but it is right now. It makes me wonder if there's more to what's been teased in Mondstadt than we think. You know, Bennett is just that one piece that makes you go, yeah, it feels like there might be something to that. Siege Wind's kit is so weird. Her kit is so strange. Well, we can confirm Melazines are dragons, though. That's cool. Those are the source water droplets. I like that. Anyway, B, thanks for the super. Do you think we'll start really digging into dragon lore in Natlan? And do you think we might find clues of what happened to the other sovereigns? Yes, yes, and yes. It is dragons all the way down, folks. All the way down. Playing through Star Rail's Penacony story actually convinced me that it is dragons all the way down, and I can prove it. So that's gonna be fun. That'll be real fun. Yeah, there's zero chance that we don't get dragon lore in Natlan. Like serious dragon lore. It's just been ramping up in every region. It's gonna get bigger. Yeah. We're about to learn that the whole world is a lie. That's gonna be so fun. Well, okay, if I'm right about this, it'd be really cool. Be a nice twist. Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Harm, thank you for the super cool info and the real story of I need practice saying these names. I need practice, so I'm not gonna say that name because I'm gonna butcher it. What do I say in the I'm gonna call them X-Man and H-Man. In the real story of X-Man and H-Man, I will practice, I promise. They burn themselves to trick corrupt gods and then resurrect from ashes to overthrow them. And that would be so cool! Because they could play on the whole trope that like dragons don't die, and maybe they could like control their regeneration rate or whatnot. Because like the whole thing with Nouvelette is that he was prevented from regenerating because Egeria existed, and she was kind of serving as like a seal on him, preventing him from being able to kind of like reformulate himself. So I think it would be really neat if Natlan didn't necessarily have that, and if the sovereign was active and maybe playing a very active role in the day-to-day knowingly. And maybe if we're lucky, X-Man and H-Man, I guess I can call them the twins. Those are the hero twins, right? I forget. Yeah, I think they're the hero twins. I could be wrong. I need to look them up. Again, it's been a while, a long while. I've been very distracted. It'd be very cool if they were like not Melazine-ish, but like somewhere between Sorry and human, and kind of like agents of the Pyro Sovereign. I'm just fan fictioning at this point. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Oh, I'm really behind. Wow, I'm sorry. We're supposed to be going through the live stream, guys. We're supposed to be going through the live stream. So far I am just staring at the live stream. I haven't said a damn thing about Siege 1, even though I wanted to. That's okay. Spike Bebop, thank you for the super. Which character quest interested me the most? Oh, that's hard. Don't ask me that. I'm probably gonna say Nahita's second story quest, and you know why. I got Deshret lore. There you go. There's your obligatory Deshret mention for this live stream. Yep. No, I don't know. I don't know what my favorite story quest is. I was particularly fond of Alhatham's. I've really enjoyed Sinos. I thought that was a good mix of lore with personal character development and also just changes in the way that Hoyo has been producing story quests. Like they're putting a lot more effort into custom scenes and all that kind of stuff, which I really like. I think that's great. I really like the visual novel style cut-ins. I think those are a very nice touch. And also I liked meeting Sethos. I thought that was cool. Temple of Silence and all that. There's a lot of lore there. We'll go over it eventually, but not today. I don't know beyond that. Like I really like the desert ones. But I like most story quests. I think the list of story quests I don't like are shorter. Is much shorter. Yeah. Blue Cat, thanks for the super. So D-Luke is actually Batman? Yes. Yes. He is. And Kaya is Night what's his name? It's not Nightwish. It's the blue one. The blue one. What's that guy's name? What's the blue one's name? The guy, the original Robin who like grew up and he has a blue suit. I forgot. Does anyone? Nightwing! Oh my god, I tried to say Nightwish and I'm like, that is not right. Yeah, Nightwing. Kaya's Nightwing. It's funny. Where's I lost the oh, it's over here. Yeah, sorry. Nightwing. There's this whole thing where you could like kind of prove that Rosaria was like Catwoman and all that kind of stuff. Like you can make it work. You can make it work. You can twist everything around. Yeah, whole mansion thing. Yeah. Oh, Parm even gave me a pronunciation guide. Shabalanke and Hunapu. I hope that's right. That one should. I'll practice. Okay, I'll practice. I will practice. I will practice. All right, thank you for the super. This Penacony theory is going to set the seas ablaze. I'm so excited. Yes, it's going to set the whole memory zone ablaze. It's going to be great. It's going to be absolutely great. Seriously, once you start breaking the things down, you're like, wait a second. Let me say this. Let me say this. The reason why I'm so hung up on everything being dragons all the way down is because in Genshin, and within the context of the greater Hoyoverse, which I know a lot of people don't like to connect the games together, and I'm not trying to connect the games together. I'm trying to connect themes and narratives of the games together. So like, because Hoyo likes to reuse them and sort of repackage them with like new twists and new plot lines, new characters, new, like same story kind of rehashed and new packaging, I guess, basically. It's like most Dell PCs. So in Honkai Impact 3rd, Project Stigma, which is something that I've used to kind of talk about Irminsul a few times in the past, and I won't really go into. But basically it was like creating this big collective consciousness, right? Like that was the whole point, was to kind of trap everyone in the same little dream bubble sort of thing. But the sort of way that they captured everyone, I'm simplifying this like severely, by the way. Honkai Impact 3rd players don't come for me. I'm dumbing this way down. I know it's more complicated and that there's nuance to it. It's okay. But basically they created like a dream net so to speak, that was made from Honkai beasts. And in the greater Hoyoverse, dragons are kind of the equivalent of Honkai beasts. And the thing about Honkai beasts that, if I recall correctly, they can only really think properly in their dreams, like while they're sleeping. So if I think of it in terms of that and how the world of Genshin is sort of made up of elemental energy and all of the dragons themselves are elemental dragons and can literally make up the landscape, it makes me think of the DreamNet being made of Honkai beasts for the most part, right? And that kind of makes that sort of serves as sort of the foundation for the idea of why everything's dragons all the way down. It's because you're kind of like in the dream of a dragon, so to speak, for lack of a better term. But yeah. Oh, I just answered Bridget's question. What is the connection with dragons and Penacony? And that's close enough for now. Think of dragons as memory zone memes, and you're halfway there. Halfway there. Whoa! Living on a prayer. So Wuthering Waves then, back up to the beginning of this video, I went over my thoughts on all that. I'm not gonna rehash that. For the most part. KMT, thank you very much for the super. Good to see you. Are we even ready to face Capitano? We can't even defeat Arlecchino. Also, Varka mentioned Capitano challenge the gods. Sorry, my brain went into a completely different place as soon as you said we didn't beat Arle. So I'll talk about this in the recap. I think we forget that the Traveler is not actually very strong. We think of them as a protagonist, therefore they always have to win and all this kind of. But the thing is, if you look at every instance where the Traveler has like been faced with some sort of insurmountable obstacle, whenever they have to face that obstacle by themselves, they fail, which is interesting. They are technically very, very, very weak. Like, they're talented. They're a good sword fighter. Obviously, they have access to different elements and all that kind of stuff. But, like, they don't have this sort of crazy, insurmountable power. What they do have, though, is the ability to channel the wills of the other people around them. So what, like we saw in Inazuma, for example, the Traveler was channeling the wills of all of the people who were fighting against their Archon. And then in Liyue, we saw them fight against Osial, where they were channeling all of the wills of the Adepti and all of the people of Liyue who didn't want Osial to be there. Like, their strength comes from the will of the people around them, like the hopes and wishes and dreams of that kind of stuff. And without that, they don't have a whole lot, right? They only have limited access to power. So what's interesting about the Arlecchino fight is that the siblings, so Linny, Lynette, and Fremine, didn't really want to fight Arlecchino. Like, they didn't want to defeat her. Their will was very weak. So in that case, there's not a whole lot for the Traveler to draw from, apart from their own will. So, like, you face the Traveler in that state without their access to their one special trick, and obviously they're not going to stand a chance against Arlecchino. In fact, they probably wouldn't stand a chance against most. And that's kind of the point. So I think it's expected that they didn't do well against her. I think it's kind of supposed to be that way. I think it's weird if they would. So, Yesent, are we ready to face Capitano? Maybe. It's going to completely depend on the circumstances of the interaction, frankly. Yeah. Sortilleges, I'm going to assume that's how you say your name. Scraping its face on the sky. I don't know what this is actually in reference to because I'm really behind on messages. Oh dear. What are we gonna do? I'm so behind. Yes. Am I going for anyone next patch? Nope. I'm saving for Natlan. Or witches. We're coming up on Hex and Circle stuff here on the Imaginarium stuff. So, that in a minute. So there may be witches coming. If there's witches coming, then I want to be prepared. And I will be prepared. I pulled for father, though. I quite like her. Connor, thank you for the super. Fischl has always driven me nuts based on her soundtracks. Excuse me. I've always wondered if she could be connected to the Fatui in some roundabout way. She even has her own delusion. Yeah, isn't that interesting? I've seen some theories where people are speculating that Fischl is the Sarita. I've also seen theories where she's other characters. Recently we learned that Fischl, at least the character, right, in the book, not Amy, might actually be Princess Mina as well from the book Princess Mina and the Fallen Nation. So whoever she's supposed to represent, she's, you know, representing someone very important. Like, for all we know, Fischl could be Paimon. We did fish her up after all. Like, it is possible. I'm just saying. But I know that that several of my friends have their own independent theories on who Fischl is and all of her kind of stuff, all her dealio. And I will not steal their thunder by expressing their theories, but those will be coming out soon, eventually, and I will share them when they do. Be excited! Yeah. Whoa, am I still behind? How am I always so behind? Oh, I'm not that behind. I'm less behind than I thought I was. I've barely talked about the stream. Jesus. Okay. Hi. Idiot Akko, thank you for the super. Considering the Ode to Resurrection chapter title for Natlan, how in the world does this teaser tie into it? Does it even tie in? By teaser, do you mean the Saurian teaser, or do you mean the teaser about the twins? Because this is gonna happen prior to Natlan. Guess I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure what that is. I don't know. I mean, this teaser. So there's kind of like multiple stories being told at the same time, right? Like there's the main Archon quest where we go and we meet every god and we solve a nation's problem, and then we kind of like get on with our life and go to the next one. There's definitely that, but there's also the story of, you know, us following our twins and uncovering the past of Conria. It's kind of like we're playing through parts of the Conria chapter before we even physically get there. So I don't necessarily think this has anything to do with Natlan. It's just part of its own art. Unless that wasn't what you were asking. If it's not, I'm sorry. Break Fate's Chain, thanks for the super. True Paimon is a sleeping dragon. Maybe. Maybe she's a baby. Maybe she's a baby moon. A baby moon, a little dragon baby moon. Little moons being dragon eggs kind of dealio. Maybe. Maybe dragons lay their eggs in the water, and that's where they go to hatch. And that's where Paimon went. I don't know. We'll see. I got stuff. We'll see how that goes. B, thank you for the super. The traveler's ability to use the will of the people reminds me a lot of when Venti says their power comes from the prayer of the people. Yup. I think they said it comes like from faith, but like that's basically the same thing. Offering up prayer, having faith in the Archon, belief in them or whatever. Like, yeah, that's all about will, right? That's all about will and using it to shape the world. So that makes total sense. And if the traveler is, you know, akin to the Archons in the sense is like they can do similar things, or like they're an ultimate form, meaning they're not locked to one element, but to even one concept, but to many concepts. So instead of being able to manage the will of one nation, they could manage the will of a whole world. Then, you know, you end up with some repeating themes. And we love some repeating themes. At least I do. I love repeating themes. Repeating themes are good. They make me happy. They make me happy. They make me very happy. Okay, I'm mostly caught up now. Am I gonna cover Wuthering Waves? Scroll back to the beginning of this stream. I covered it in the beginning. I will probably not be, but you can scroll back for the explanation on that. I know Aster will be, though. So if you guys are looking for Aster or for Wuthering Waves lore, I know both Tivat Historia has returned and he's going to be covering it, and then Chill with Aster is also going to be covering it. So as far as like familiar lore creators that I know will be covering it, though I know those two will be. I think Aster actually released one video already on it. So if you're interested, you can totally check that out. I want to do this one. I won't because I don't think I can physically handle doing another open world game. So, yeah. I just can't. I just can't. I'm not I am old. I'm old, you guys. Like, there's only so much space and time that I have. And mental energy for that matter. I ain't that young. I don't have that gumption like creators like DeWitt have. DeWitt? Is it DeWitt or Do It? I think it's DeWitt. But that guy cranks out a video like every other day. It's insane. Like that kind of production speed. I can't do that. There's no friggin' way. I could never do that. I'm so impressed by people who can, man. That kind of marathon style creation is beyond my capabilities. So, yeah, I'm gonna stick with the stuff that I feel like I can reasonably manage. Kellogg, thanks for the super. Do you think that the Abyss Twins sword was imbued with the will in the trailer, like the sword of the Narcissenkreuz? No, I don't. I think the issue with the twin is that they don't have that ability anymore. I feel like I need to say that it's anymore. Where is that scene? I have no idea where it is, unless it was in the trailer in the very beginning. I think it was in the trailer in the very beginning. If that's the case, I'm gonna swap over to this one just to bring it up, so we can look at it. That's a cool machine, though. It's got to be Cloran's thing. I've heard some people suggest that the voice here is actually Kari Bear, which would be very interesting. There's butterflies at the moment of death. Mr. Roth comes to take you away. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. So, like, I know she has her golden sword here, but the thing is, this is the same golden sword from the very beginning of the game, right? It's not actually glowing with will. It's just like, it might be considered a sword of reason because it's very possible that the twins both had the power of reason prior to the Sustainer of Heavenly Principles taking it away from them. But I don't necessarily think this is infused with wills, if that makes sense. I do think that these are the swords of reason or whatever, but this sword gets corrupted, so to speak, later on. Like, it gets a whole different ability. I just don't think that that Lumine here is doing the same thing that, you know, we saw the Traveler do in Inazuma or in the Narcissenkreuz quest or anything like that. I think it's the same kind of sword. I just don't think it's the same thing that they're doing here. Because we do have to remember, like, one twin did not lose their powers. Although it would be kind of interesting if the Abyss Twin could freely switch between their, for lack of a better term, let's call it their Numa and Osea stage, right? It'd be very interesting if they could swap at will. Because, like, even in We Will Be Reunited, when this sword wasn't gold anymore, it was purple. back then, even the Abyss Twin had the white glowing parts, you know? So I think it's actually quite believable for them to be able to swap between it. Because it's like the only thing that would change is the sword. Who knows? And you know, come to think of it, hang on. What is it called? Hang on. It's yeah. So the thing about this, right, is the Sword of Narcissenkreuz could freely switch and can freely switch between Numa and Osea. So it is possible that this event doesn't happen in the past, but instead that the Abyss Twin can swap freely back and forth between two stances. That is possible. Just saying. I'ma just saying. Minstrel, thanks for the super. Hey, how's it going? Any thoughts, ideas, speculations on what could possibly be the real god name of the Pyro Archon? Personally, I think her Ars Goetia name could be Phoenix. I don't like to speculate because I'm always wrong on that one. Like, I would have never guessed that Nahita's name was Boor. That seems like a weird one to pick. But, like, I kind of get it. But I also kind of don't. But I kind of do. But I don't know that there's really a way to predict that. I think if I had to guess, though, I almost wonder if it might be I wonder if it might be this one. But I'm not sure. This is probably my guess, and I'm probably gonna be far off, just for the record. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick this one. I'd probably pick this one, yeah. Whoa. There we go. Okay. Hey, guess what? I'm caught up with chat. That only took however long that was. Asmodai is not Paimon's name. Asmodai is the name of the sustainer of heavenly principles. Yeah, Im is also a good one. Im is actually the reason why I'm saying Amemon. The thing is if memory serves, I don't think they have it here. Hold on. It's actually just Amy, I think. But I think a variant of the name is Im. But I think the full name of Im is Amemon. That's the thing. Yeah. Yeah. It's just that Amy is one of those ones that, like, I can't really assign to anyone else because Amy is also the name of Fischl. And it just makes you think that, like, well, does Fischl have a demon name? Does Fischl, like, is she the demon Amy? Is that the thing? Is that why we call her Amy? Like, I'm definitely not the first person to think that, but, like, you know, that's kind of why I prefer looking at a Maymom instead. Just because this one has a little bit more not uniqueness. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not used yet. Amy has been used, and I think I can't remember if I'm is short for a Maymom or Amy. Anyway, this is the one I would guess. I'm called GPK. Thanks for the super. I really hope that Yansen isn't a 4-star. They're the character that I've been most looking forward to from the Travail trailer, besides Dane, of course. I don't. Who else was in it? Okay, it went. Diluc, Ningguang, Ayaka, Sino, and then the twins, who were both 4 and 5-star, and then Janssen, and then Puccinella, right? Would she be a 4-star based on that pattern? Probably not. I think if there is a pattern to be seen, right? That's a caveat and a half already. If there is a pattern to be seen in the rarities in the trailer, I would wager that Lynette saved Janssen from being a 4-star. That's my guess. Ningguang was meant to be a 5-star at one point. I think you're right. I remember her old beta kit too. She had like this really cool charge attack that would like create these gold rocks above characters, and then it would slam them down. It was a lot like Yenfei's seal, Scarlet Seal. Yeah. Given that the devs in the beginning told us that Dane would be playable in the near future, would that count for Paimon too, given that they were our traveler guides before then? I don't think so. I don't think Paimon will ever be playable. Not in any way that matters, anyway. Yeah, I think it's going to be very unlikely that a Harbinger will be a 4-star. So if Eon Sen isn't a 4-star, then that would mean Ningguang and Lynette are the only 2 4-stars in that entire thing. Which I guess is its own stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I know that Paimon has like that official art with her having a spear and all that, but like it wasn't like, I think that's more just supposed to be reminiscent of a sign of status, like a scepter. I don't think it was actually supposed to be a weapon. Do I think Puccinello will be realistically playable as we see him from Lazo despite his body type? I don't know. But if they do, I think they're going to use the little girl model, which would be extremely funny because I want to watch him run like Klee. I just want to watch him book it with his arms out. Nutter to one. Whee! Oh. It would be so funny. Just have his little cape going by. I think he would be so friggin' funny if they made him tiny. Like really tiny. Like Klee size. Finally, a playable boy child. As a playable man child, thank you very much. He is an old man. They even have the same ears. It's not that much of a stretch of a model. But we have Xiao. I was about to refute that, and then I understood the joke. I'm slow today. It's fine. Okay. One caveat though. It's possible not all the Harbingers are going to be playable. Like, it is possible that Senora never comes back. Right? It is possible that the whole left side of the Harbinger wheel doesn't become playable. Like, it's possible. So I wouldn't write it off. I think there's precedence for it. I think it would be weird for them to do that, but I feel like they could make Puccinella endearing in a way that people would definitely pull for him. If for nothing else, because he'd just be a novelty in this game of immortals, and then everyone else is under 25. Seriously, in this game, if you are over the age of 25, you are either dead or you are an immortal and like over 500 years old or something. Like there is no in between. No one exists in the playable cast who's like over 25 without being some kind of immortal or cursed being. it just doesn't happen. So I don't know. I think it's funny. CK, thank you for the super. Thank you for all your content. Thank you for watching my content. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I mean, like, I think it depends on where you think Lisa is and Risley. The thing is like we can't really calculate some of their ages, but like for everyone that we can calculate reasonably, like Kaveh, Alhaitham, Sino, Tignari, we can calculate them, and we can roughly calculate Diluc and Amber, and then we can calculate some ages based on their ages. Like based on that, like Lisa might be at worst 27, which still puts her under 30, which is still kind of anyway. We know nothing about Risley's age. I don't think we can even begin to try to calculate that. But I would argue that just statistically, he's probably not much over 25. Probably not. Almost guarantee it. Starfan6299. Thank you for the super. Kind of off topic, but do you think there's a reason why the stars in the north of Teyvat are different from the south of Teyvat? What? You mean like the constellations? Or do you mean like if you stand in Sumeru, you get different stars than if you stand in Mondstadt? Those feel like two different questions. I'm gonna wait for clarification. You do not have to super for clarification, okay? You don't have to do that. Just I'm basically caught up. I'll find you. I'll find you. Yeah, because like I mean, you do have different constellations that you can see from northern and southern hemispheres, but in this case, it might really just be a skybox change because they did update the skybox a bit. You can still see certain things about it, which are interesting. Even in regions like the desert. But the thing about the desert is that like it's not even that the skybox is different. The sky is just darker. At least it is on my machine. I don't know. That's how it was for me. Why is my chat jumping? What's going on? Stop jumping around. I'm yelling at the technology, not you guys. Technology is always my worst enemy. Why are they like this? Malachite, thank you for the super. Wondering how the Fatui will play into Natlan with how Capitano is so heavily teased, but the Fatui wheel has us fighting Columbina next. Yeah, well, I mean, think about it this way. Fontaine basically was supposed to be Sandrone's region, and yet we got Arlecchino. So, sure, Capitano might be teased there. He might show up, kind of like how Dottore showed up in Sumeru, but we fought Scaramouche. I think it'll be probably the same sort of thing. I think Columbina will kind of like be the one kind of messing with us while we're there. Even if Capitano makes an appearance, you know. I'm gonna do the thing. Oh no, astrophysics is in chat. He's gonna double check my star knowledge. Oh no. Please don't expose me. It's horrible. I don't see a clarification yet. Enkin, thanks for the super. Any lore reasons for things almost always take place 2 days later? Used to be for IRL events, but permanent stuff got it too. I don't think there's any lore reasons for it taking place 2 days later. I think it's just because the clock used to have only a 24-hour limit on it. Like you could only change the clock within 24 hours. And then if something happened 2 or even 3 days later, which does happen from time to time, you'd have to stop the clock and then do it again, which was really annoying. And so I don't remember what patch it was, but they changed it so that the clock could go around twice, all the way around. And I think they just tried to standardize all the systems on the 2 days so that you didn't have to keep going in and out of the clock menu. You could just like do it once in the menu and call it a day. Well, call it 2 days, I guess, in this case. I think that's why I don't think there's a lore reason for it. I think that's actually just game mechanics. Little quality of life. What's my current state of the Hexen Circle? Okay, let's actually get back to this friggin' live stream. That's what I was here for. All right, first off, this is the Mondstadt library, okay? That's where this is. And we know this because we've actually been here once already. I forget what festival it was, but we had that thing with the balloons we were chasing through the library. It was basically this model, like the model of this area. Everything in here is basically there. Okay, what was it? One of the wind blooms? Okay, I couldn't remember. It was one of the wind blooms, maybe. It's the one that I don't have footage of the event for, and I'm so upset because that was the one where like the waiting room was actually just this little room with like a recliner, not a recliner, but like a nice cushy chair and then a little table on it. And on that friggin' table was Nicole's tea set. This one right here. This one was on that table, and I've been kicking myself because I thought I had footage of it, and then I never actually had footage of it, and I was so upset. But yeah, like it's the exact same model. Like all of this is, I mean, it's not this exact room, but this is the Mondstadt library, which means the Imaginarium Theater is in the Mondstadt library, which is fun. Wasn't in Razor event. Oh, you mean Vinelaza Fest? It might have been. It might have been Vinelaza Fest. I can't remember. It was one of the Mondstadt events. I don't remember which one. Yeah, the thing is, if you guys remember back to the Hexen Circle teaser that we had, one of the witches was named Anders' daughter, and she was a novelist. Basically, she would write fairy tales and storybooks and all that kind of stuff. And she was actually responsible for writing The Boar Princess. And I'm going to let this play out for a second. Now, The Boar Princess is one of the most messed up books, I think, in the whole game, period. Like, you start reading the volumes and you're like, oh, this is a cute little thing about a boar a boar princess who takes her friends and goes to save this wolf prince who is sad and lonely and off in the wilderness and all that kind of stuff. And then at the very end of the book, she and the wolf eat all of her friends. Like literally, they take all of her friends, they put them in a pot, and they make soup, and they eat them. And it's one of those things that like everything else is fine up until that point. You're like, oh, this is a great little fairy tale. And then it's that. Like, yeah, we're just going to eat our friends. She just turns her back on her friends. And it's like really messed up. Seriously, before the Imaginarium Theater releases, please go and read The Boar Princess. It's not that long. You can kind of skim through it to kind of like get the feel for it. But when you get to the last volume, just like make sure you read the whole thing of the last volume. Hang on, I gotta close the door. Well, they're staring at me like, what are you doing? What else is new? They're always staring at me like, what am I doing? The Boar Princess is the definition of a plot twist. Yeah, a plot twist that comes out of friggin' nowhere. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make here is that this right here is the Boar Princess, and this is the wolf prince that she went to save. So that's kind of why I'm like, please go read this book before we start the Imaginarium Theater, because this mode not only has some pretty cool prizes and like new poses and stuff for picture taking, which I think is a pretty unique reward, honestly. I think that's really cool. It also goes to show that Genshin is updating their models, which is a huge, huge undertaking. Because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but a lot of the characters in the recent quests have had new poses. Like they're not just the same default poses we've had over and over and over and over again. So they've been re-rigging and maybe re-rigging is not the right word, but they're reworking some of the models in a way that they can more easily add in these default poses. and stuff like that. So I think we'll be getting a lot more of them, and I'm quite excited to see that. Yeah, it was very apparent in the Ito event. It was very apparent. Renadellas, thank you for the super. I loved Traveler recommends Boar in Ayaka's outfit. What? What? Wait. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I have to understand this statement because I don't understand this statement, and therefore we're gonna go try and understand the statement. What boar? Oh, the Boar Princess story. He recommends the Boar Princess story here. Got it. A beautiful and cruel fairy tale, rather different from other works of its kind. I think people will find it very interesting. Unfortunately, when Ayaka brought the list of books to Aratani, the editor crossed out the Boar Princess without hesitation. This fairy tale might be a bit too unique. I feel that people might not be ready for its contents yet. Yeah, about that. Oh, I completely forgot about that. You're so right. You're so right. Oh my god. That's amazing. Actually, wait. Come to think of it, there's one more reference to it that's like really really random. Let me see if I can find it really quick. Because I'm pretty sure I know where this is. I remember it because it was really bizarre. Yeah, okay. I think this is the Boar Princess, this book. I'm pretty sure. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. We apparently just really like this book and we keep recommending it to friends. We gotta all hate them to read it. And I'm not sure why. And come to think of it, I think there's one more. There's one more that I remember. Let's see if I remember this correctly. I'm going back to Nahida for a second. Hold on. Let's see if I remember this. Memory, don't fail me now. I love hunting for eggs. Little Easter eggs. Was it Nahida? Yes, it is. There it is again. There's the Boar Princess. So we love recommending this book to friends, which kind of tells you a little bit about the Traveler that we don't really we don't get to see that much. Anyway. Who is the Boar Princess? An excellent question. So one thing that the Ito event talked about at length was that Dvorak was talking about how do I put this? He was like, we could change all of the characters in the story and even an event or two, but as long as the soul of the story stays the same, then you're still getting the message across or something. So like my running theory is that the Boar Princess is probably the same princess as some of our other princesses, although we can't really identify which one, and that she probably wasn't an actual boar, probably. But that it's more allegorical for some things that happened that we can't really translate yet. So, that's kind of how I'm thinking of it. I gotta go back and look at what Dvorak is what he actually said, because I don't remember the exact line, but that was kind of the gist of it. But yeah. Kari Dreamer, thank you for the super. Hello, love your videos. Do you think the twins might have been a part of the Conria orphanage? And do you think animals evolved as the way we know, or that Celestia created them as how we see them today? I would say it's probably a combination of both, because the concept of evolution exists in Genshin. But there's something that really bothers me about the animals, and it didn't actually occur to me that these things were happening and prolific until the whole Arlecchino is a spider debate. I will still fight people on the spider thing, but mostly because they're called bone wings, and thinking of them as wings makes me feel better than thinking of spiders with 6 legs. Here's the thing. about spiders in this game. They only have 6 legs, which you'd think is a one-off until you realize I don't actually know what they're called. Oh, this might be fine. Until you realize that things like the octopus only have 4 tentacles, which is also not right. So they can't really be octopus if they don't have the oct. They're a quadrupus. Oh, I don't like that. That sounds weird. I don't like that at all. It's like a quadruped with tentacles. Yep, okay. We're going to stop that one right there. No more. No more. But that's actually kind of consistent because even the washer octopus here also only has 4 legs. See, if you start looking at the animals, you start to notice that they have things that are off about them. It's not just the spider. And I do wonder if, like, we know that according to Enka, at least, like the primordial one kind of remade all life on Earth, and it seems like they got a few things wrong. Now, I'll assume that life has continued to evolve over time, from that initial creation event, but I would still say that, like, it's most likely that they were created but then continued to evolve, I guess. And this is kind of my evidence for it, is that there's things that are off. And I think that that's intentional on Hoyo's part, but I could be wrong. I am Peth. Thank you for this super. On the topic of eating friends, when do you think Lumine and Eater will eat or fuse or absorb with Paimon? So I think the eating is almost a little bit allegorical. Like you said, the fusion thing. I actually think it's a little bit more chemical marriage-y, if you understand what I mean by that. Because how do I explain this? Yeah, basically, you know how Seelies weren't allowed to love, or else they would lose their forms. Every time you see a Seelie try to help somebody out, especially like a God King, like in the case of Remus, for example, they tend to just vanish or lose their form entirely, right? They kind of fade away. So in a lot of ways, you can kind of think of the whole pact with a Seelie, or the Seelie, quote unquote, loving something, as them being part of a chemical marriage wherein they don't survive the process, right? And chemical marriages aren't really like marriages, like wedding rings and that kind of stuff. They're more allegorical in that sense, but they are like a union, like a chemical union, right? Like the Seelie is lost in the process of this chemical reaction, so to speak. Now, I think in Paimon's case, it might be more that Paimon can undergo repeated reactions with the traveler, in the sense, like, at one point we're gonna learn that Paimon can lend her power to the traveler, and we don't know what that power is yet. And I think if that happens, it's probably gonna happen pretty late in the game. I think I'll be surprised if it happens in Natlan. I think it's more likely to happen in Snezhnaya. If only because I wonder if it'll be, like, if it could be the reason we stopped Project Stusha. But that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother thing altogether. Still want to talk about Siege one. But yeah, like I think Paimon kind of is like a method of completing the traveler's abilities in some way. So she would have to, quote, love and proceed through a chemical marriage or a reaction in order to complete whatever this process is. Is that the library? Yeah, this is the library. Oh, I didn't realize that. This was like interspliced with the Dane stuff, so I didn't realize this was in the library. So that's cool. They're really gonna do some cool stuff with this Imaginarium Theater stuff. I'm very excited. I'm very excited about that. That's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. Be cool. Okay, I need to catch up here. There we go. Okay, I'm caught up. I'm caught up. I'm caught up. I'm caught up again. No, I'm not. Never mind. Boreas, thank you for the super. Hey, have you covered the name of Yao Yao's constellation? Talking about eating friends reminds me of the blood drinking. It's fairly creepy when you remember that Zhongli's line is about osmanthus wine. What is her constellation is the osmanthus tree, right? Um, is it just osmanthus? I can't remember. Let's find out. Yeah, it's just osmanthus. Okay. The sweet osmanthus constellation. Um, I haven't covered the name of Yao Yao's constellation. My understanding is that osmanthus is a plant that is often used to brew tea and wine. That I have never. Oh, it's called devilwood. Well, that's cool. Learn something new every day. What's we got here? That's not helpful. I want to know its uses, not its cultivation. What do you do with it? Do you drink it? I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, here we go. In China, osmanthus tea combines sweet osmanthus flowers with black or green tea leaves. It's also a locally brewed beer. Sweet osmanthus tea are particularly associated with the city of Guilin, forest of sweet osmanthus. Yeah. PepsiCo makes osmanthus flavored Pepsi for the Chinese market? What does that taste like? I feel like I need to just like go traveling and taste really weird food. And by weird, I mean like food that would have never occurred to me. Not weird as in like it is weird that we eat this food, but just weird as in this never occurred to me that this exists and now I have to try it. Oh my god. You guys are such trolls. It tastes the same as I remember, like you've ever had it. Bunch of liars. Pepsi wine. Oh, that sounds awful. Awful, awful, awful. Wait, Boreas, are you suggesting that like someone's gonna eat Yao Yao? Because I sure hope not. That would be very awkward. I think she's just supposed to be a cultural reference, to be frank. I think that's all this is. But you never know. She does brew medicine. If you think of it that way, alcohol and tea is medicine. I think that works out. I've actually not looked at Yao Yao that carefully. To be fair, I have not. I don't know a whole lot about her. I mean, like I know her general lore. I just haven't done like a deep dive into her inspirations or anything. That I have not. Well, I learned about the existence of Osmanthus Pepsi. That's a new thing. Weird knowledge acquired. Anyway, Boar Princess. I'm gonna go back to that. I'm gonna go back to my happy place, which is apparently something. Oh, I wanted to go to the event page too. Um, is it just you or does the boar princess in the painting look like Rosaria? Where the heck was my friggin' where? Oh, here I am. There I am. I found it. We're fine. Maybe more like a rabbit in the moon elixir of life stuff. Genshin. Oh, oh. If you put it that way, okay, I totally get it. Okay, so my brain immediately went to and probably yours too, and why you brought it up. I get it now. Okay, okay, okay. You were thinking, I'm going to assume, about the idea that like the Crimson Moon dynasty, for example, drank poison as part of a ritual to the Crimson Moon, and how that was kind of likened to the toxins, and how the inside of the moon was like this abyssal stuff. And we're kind of likening wine and blood and toxic abyss goo all together. And then moon rabbits with osmanthus, osmanthus being used to make alcohol and all that kind of, is that the big red line on a corkboard kind of thing that you were talking about? Because that is kind of cool, not gonna lie. That would be a nice little nod. It could be really neat. Very, very neat. Um Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Arlecchino's thing did also have rabbit symbolism, didn't it? Because she was shown as the that little white and black rabbit too. Little moon children. Interesting. Okay, well, you know what? That's really cool. In that case, we should actually be most suspicious of this character, of whom we've seen so very little about. Her and her Baron Bunny. Oh, also, we should also be looking at Doroko, because Doroko is also very rabbit-like. And remember, Alice says that the people, or the Dodokos or the Dodo clan, are peace-loving and playful, and they are our friends. Yeah. Dodoko, bunny god of the dead. Listen, that'd be so funny. I'd be down for that. I'd be totally down for that. Yeah, but this is kind of what I mean about Mondstadt just being like this one allegory to everything that's going on. Like, I feel like the reason why we keep thinking, oh, this character is going to be super important for X, Y, or Z when we get to this nation or something, is because they're supposed to represent that nation in Mondstadt. You know what I mean? Like, Mondstadt is kind of a melting pot mixture of everything that we're going to go through, and we don't have the information to understand what it is we're seeing until we get there. And I think that is really, really cool. That is one of my favorite things I think about Mondstadt in general. But yeah, so Boar Princess, there she is in her Rose Tower and her castles and all that kind of stuff. And I just realized that there's Mondstadt windmills in this ball. I want it. It's like a snow globe, but cooler. He's gonna come to life now, little cutie. So is he like some kind of wizard? He kind of feels like he might be some kind of little prince wizardy thing. Well, he said it's a poet. This room was created by a mage. Well, we knew that because this is basically Anders' daughter's story. So, like, it has to have been created by the Hexen Circle. Maybe not Anders' daughter, but one of them. One of them. Oh, Nicole's tea set is everywhere. Maybe it's not even Nicole's tea set. Okay. Here's one more thing. We have, for the first time, we get to see the portraits of the witches, and we have no idea who is who, but we can wildly speculate. Actually, there is one witch that I do have a interesting speculation on. We'll get to her in a second. Nymph was a mage, but more likely the Hexen Circle did this. Yeah. I mean, there's all the witches on the side there, so I think that'll definitely be the case. We're gonna speed through Dane's explanation here. I'm sorry, Yuri's explanation. He's not Dane right now. He's just possessing his body. That's a weird thing to say about a voice actor. I'm just possessing the body of a character right now. I'm not actually okay. We're gonna very Jack and the Beanstalk in the background. Okay, I'm trying to. Okay, here we go. There's more little nods, little tiny things. Okay, what do we got? We got the little guys. Got all the little guys. Wolfie is very interesting. He reminds me a lot of Boreas, honestly. Maybe it's just the coloring. Might just be the coloring. But this is kind of interesting. The one other thing I wanted to point out with the Boar Princess, and the reason why I keep saying, like, you might want to pay attention to a few things regarding allegories and kind of changing the characters up a little bit, is because the reason why Princess Fischl might actually be Princess Mina from Princess Mina and the Fallen Nation is because Mina actually means fish in like 4 or 5 different languages. So she'd be Princess Fish. But then I was also thinking, well, wait a minute. Fischl has red eyes, and maybe that's a very small thing to go off of, but like this boar princess has red eyes. And I'm like, well, that's something. You never know if that might be relevant at some point. So I think it'd be quite interesting if Fischl ate her friends. No, not for real. Let's not. Let's not go there. The point I was more trying to make was there may be allegories here for greater stories that we're not aware of yet. I'm very excited for the poses, like unreasonably. I feel like it's just been so long coming. I know we probably won't start off with that many, but like it's nice to see Genshin finally catch up with where they feel like they should be. Hold on. I wanted to see something. Oops. So this is cool because once you click them, they then switch positions and then they do the thing where they like they're reading a book. So like now they are sleeping and now they are reading books. That's cool. I'm sorry. That's like the stupidest kind of thing I could fixate on, but I like it. I don't know what's going to be in that treasure chest. This will be nice to mix things up though. But yeah, definitely read the Boar Princess here. Definitely do that. Cloudforge Bow is interesting as well. And I don't know. It's really pretty. I don't know who it's for though. Because like Sethos is our upcoming book. I mean, I guess it could be for Sethos or Siegewin. I keep forgetting she's a bow. I keep thinking she should be a catalyst for some reason. I haven't talked about Siegewin yet. I am so upset. Also, this little guy is a friend for Scara Meow. And I hope he becomes a plushie, and then I will get him, and then they will be friends. He's very cute, but it does make you wonder if he's also part of the Hexen Circle. He's got all the symbolism, which means that somewhere in here we're probably gonna meet a little black cat witch, or maybe they're another character from Wolfie's story. I don't remember there being a cat. Come to think of it. Okay, so there's one thing I wanted to point out. Let's see. Where is the latest 4.7 preview page? These are web events. I'll just Google it. There it is. Eyes found it. Except this isn't actually the thing. That's not what I wanted. I don't want the trailer. I want the preview page. Why are you like this? Maybe it's in here. No, it's not. It's not. It's not. Most definitely not. I'm looking for something kind of specific, but I don't. Oh, okay. Here's one of it. So you see this guy right here? You see this? This is a squirrel who's from the Boar Princess, and I think their name was Wubakwa. Oh my god. Fandom. Cooperate. Oh, it's on that side. That's why. Wubakwa. Yeah, there we go. This one. Wubakwa was this evil squirrel mage thing. And this is interesting to me because the way that this is set up, like, do they not look like a Hexen Circle member? Don't they? They do to me. Oh, Raiden's got a cool pose. I hadn't seen that one yet. There was a talking squirrel and golden apple. Oh yeah, there was too. But yeah, this should be Wubaqua. And I remember seeing, and I don't remember where. I'm gonna find it eventually. I saw a I saw a little bust of one of the witches that looked like she might be Wubaqua. And I don't remember where it was. So that's going to be fun to find out. So here's Wubaqua again. Yay, Wubaqua. I just like the name. It's fun to say. Wubaqua. Wubaqua. I'm looking for the... I remember seeing it. Okay, so one thing that we didn't get to see in the other one. These are the boar princess's friends. There's the fox, the wolf, and then the turtle. And they make turtle soup. So that's fun. Maybe that just means they went through a chemical marriage. I'm gonna find it. I don't know where it is. But okay, the point is mostly that I'll find it. The point is mostly that there is a very good chance that Wubaqua, or the enemy, or the antagonist, I should say, of this story is one of the Hexen Circle. Which I think is kind of wild. I'm gonna find it. I don't know where you are, but I like hide and seek sometimes. I feel like it's on the preview page, but I don't remember where the preview page is. Oh, I could just go to Hoyo Lab. Yeah, that's probably where it is. That is probably where it is. Hold on. Stop. There it is. No! Wait, that's the trailer! I want the preview page. Why are they like this? What? Wait, is this just linking to a YouTube video that, like, in the description has the thing? Because if that's the case, that's fine. Oh my god. They only ever post the links on social media, and I am not on many. There it is. 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 There she is. We steal you. There. Pause. Okay. You see her hat? You see it? You see how it has the swirly things on the bottom? Right? With the little spikes on it? And you see the star on the tip of her hat? Well, try and tell me that that is not Wubaqua. 'Cause it totally is. 100% totally. Well, not 100%, but you know. I'm fairly convinced. Where is... there's too many things. I just want something. Sorry. I'm scrubby sliding through nonsense to find the thing I'm looking for. Find it eventually. Oh, it might be in here somewhere. No, it's probably farther in. Oh, wait. Okay, you can't see Wubaqua's tail in this one. Okay, that's not the point. Okay, the point is there's a good chance the antagonist of the story is actually a witch. Like one of the Hexen Circle. Which is kind of cool. Because it might mean that these guys are not just like chilling in the background, that they've been kind of messing with things and perhaps not in the most beneficial way. You know what I mean? I don't remember where Wubaqua is. Okay, well, whatever. Enkin, thank you for the super. Weird how often Boar Princess shows up. Only book-based TCG, Mirrorpede shop for Volume 8 that we can't buy. Yup. Then Joel's missing Dad had it in Dragonspine and the Traveler's Restricted section VO. Yeah, no, it's freaking everywhere. And like I said, like it's something that we recommend to Alhaitham and Ayaka and Nahida to read. And isn't that crazy? Oh wait, is it actually down here? Do I just need to scroll down? Am I dumb? That's probably, yeah. I mean, the answer to that is yes. It's well, I guess they go sideways at some point, right? Yeah. I don't know where it is. But Wubakwa basically has that squirrel tail and the same hat as that witch. So, anyway, I think it's cool. Wouldn't it imply two witches, the boar and the wolf? No. Wubakwa is the witch, not the boar and the wolf. Wubakwa, the the squirrel sorcerer, the antagonist in the story. That one. I don't. Stop. This guy. Well, girl. Probably. If it's. There's no pause button here. We have to do a manual pause. If it comes up, we'll see. These are just cool. Yeah, it's on that. There's this one. There was another one, and I can't remember where it went. I can't remember where it was. Right click, open a new tab to pause. Well, I can also just hit the screenshot button and it'll pause it that way. Oh! I took my headphones off. I didn't realize the music was playing. Sorry. Sorry. Why did they make the wolf so cute? Because he's the good guy. He was sad and lonely. He was very sad and lonely. Did the TCG cards come out yet? I mean, I know some got showcased in here, and I know we've got. I just didn't remember if they came out in this pack. It doesn't seem so. They came out last pack, right? I can't keep track. I have no idea. It was in a post on Hoyu Lab. Oh, okay. Yeah, they showed them off. Okay. In that case, they might be on here. I just have to prove a point, okay? I have to prove a point. They might actually not be on here. We'll find out rather quickly. As we scroll through all of them until I find the one I want. I barely ever play TCG, but I like looking at the art you see. That wasn't supposed to rhyme. I really thought that said conclusive ovulation for a minute, and I got real concerned. Okay, moving on. Line equipment. I know. It actually might not even be here because it's not a real card yet. He says not stopping to scroll. I'm gonna keep scrolling. Keep them cards a scrolling. Eventually, I still wanted to talk about Siegewind. That's okay. I'll just put her in my Dragon Sealy video because I'm tired. I worked outside most of the day. It's not going to be in here, is it? I'm going to have scrolled all this way. Oh, no, here it is. But it doesn't have Wubakwa. Dang it. Where's my Wubakwa? Ah! Landon Yoder, thanks for the super. Do you think we'll find out how Child got his vision? I mean, probably eventually. I would assume it's probably critical information, which is why they're not telling it to us. Well, critical, not necessarily to, well, you know, they withhold that information from us until we're ready for it. So, like, it probably has implications that they haven't properly set up for yet. I'd be surprised. Joffrey, thank you for the super. Hello, new subscriber, but long-time lore enjoyer. Thank you so much for making lore content about HSR and making it both enjoyable and digestible. I love your voice and I'm excited for future content. Well, thank you. Thanks for watching. I'm glad. I feel like the Star Rail community is smaller. That's not the right word. I feel like there's less content made for it. That's a better way to put it. I guess that and smaller is about the same thing. So I'm glad Penacony went well, and I'm glad people are really excited about it. And I'm glad a lot of things are coming together because it deserves a lot more attention than it's been getting. So I will contribute in whatever measly way possible that I can. I will do that. Yes. Less explored. Yeah, that might be a good way to put it. Yeah. Enjoyed my coverage of the quintet. Oh my god. Oh, the quintet gives me nightmares. I had a hell of a time with them. Trying to put all that together. We'll get proper closure on that story eventually. One day. One day. Oh, the same day I learned to like Jing Liu. Don't tell Brax. It's fine. He doesn't like my faves either. The Squirrel Witch is in the Imaginarium Theater preview page. Yes, I know. I was trying to find the actual squirrel again, and I couldn't find him. I found the one without his tail, but then I couldn't find the one with his tail, and now I'm upset. I did it to myself. It's fine. Okay. There's still, you know, there's still one last topic to cover, and it's the Archon quest. If you'd like to have some speculations, I don't have that many. Like, this caught me off guard as well. This caught me off guard as well. So we're getting Hexenzirkel and Dane lore and Traveler lore and Natlan. Like, everything's all at once. The Loom of Fate is done, but like, how and what does that? Okay, so it's probably been a while since we've gone over Kari Bear. It's been well over a year. But if you remember correctly, Clotar was trying to turn Kari Bear into a Loom of Fate, or the Loom of Fate, depending on how you look at it. So one of the reasons why people are identifying that one male voice in the teaser trailer as Kari Bear is exactly for that reason. Because Kari Bear was supposed to become the Loom of Fate itself. So it would make sense if they were the ones who, or if he was the one to say something. Now, the interesting thing is that in Kari Bear, the quest, towards the end, Dane was like, he had a suspicion at who the sinner was. And he kind of said that the next time we meet, he kind of suggested that he'd tell us who he thought it was. So there's two different possibilities here for what's going to happen, or maybe they're both the same thing. It'd be very interesting if Kari Bear was both the sinner and the Loom of Fate at the same time. That would be fascinating. Is it not the sinner? It's a different voice actor. in the center. Caribear absorbed the center into himself. No, I think there might be, let's say, some time-space shenanigans going on, especially since he was in the chasm. I almost wonder if you could think of the event that we witnessed with Clotar as almost like a prophetic sort of thing, where it's like, oh, this is the future that I could have, and then he goes and tries to actually make that a reality. I'm not entirely sure. I have very little to go on, frankly. Those are probably the two best guesses. But the fact that we've got both travelers together on the preview page, like in the preview artwork, it does make you wonder exactly what we're going to be doing. Like, are we going to be confronting our sibling, or is this going to be all about Clotar and Caribear, and it's just like detailing how the siblings' paths diverge, like what it was that really convinced the Abyss sibling to go off and do something else and not continue the path that we were supposed to walk. I mean, we do have that scene where they run towards each other. So, we do have that. And this is where I get real conspiratorial. Because, this location here is the Eternal Oasis. So, like, I think if nothing else, this is basically going to be, how to put this? I think it's basically going to be an explanation of why the Abyss twins split off, and what the Loom of Fate is, and what their goal is. So I think personally, what we're eventually going to do is just have this encounter where we're going to fundamentally disagree with and confront our twin and realize that we're no longer, the same people we were. And it's kind of a tragedy in a way, because like, even if you end up meeting your sibling, if they've walked a very different path from you and now they have completely different views from you and they think differently than they used to, then they're kind of a stranger in a lot of ways. So I think that's kind of what they're going for. Now I don't know if this is actually the Eternal Oasis necessarily, but in the Eternal Oasis, there's like these walls that you kind of can't get past, and it continues onward for quite a distance. And I think this is at the top of the waterfall, and I have to go back there and double check, but I'm pretty sure like this is like these rocks at the top of the water. But also, guys, keep in mind, the Eternal Oasis was made by Deshret. This is a very weird place to meet our sibling. Like, I'm just saying, like, this is a very strange place to meet. Even if this is not the Eternal Oasis, the fact that it is constructed exactly the same as the Eternal Oasis is already really sus. Yeah, everyone gets to do a shot now. You're welcome. Okay, so the reason why I got excited about this is because when Caribear came out, I made a theory that Deshret was the sinner. Do you guys remember that? Or have you guys watched that video? It was a two-parter. And it was because, I don't know if you guys remember this, but it was because let's see if we can find this thing. Lost Legacy is that one. It was because there's this one spot in here where Rukkhadevata finally seals Deshret for the second time. By the way, Sino's story quest filled in the desert timeline, and I am so convinced now that I got it right when I did the beginner's guide to Sumeru, and I said that Deshret died twice, because he did. And the new Sino quest kind of proved it. We might circle back to that in a second. When he pops back out of the water, he is a purple crystal, same as Genshin's sinner. Like the sinner that's in the chasm. And like the chasm borders Sumeru, right? So like this whole thing here is very suspicious to me. That not only do we have this and that the sinner looks like the Deshret crystal that got sealed, and then friggin' Karibear is connected to that thing because it gave back its consciousness or whatnot. And then we're suddenly meeting our twin in the eternal oasis that Deshret built. And it's all about the loom of fate, which is supposed to be like you see all of those strings connecting the pins and they go brrr. Yeah. So I'm excited. Yay. Renee Dillis, thank you for the super. Something I keep losing my mind over with the Archon quest preview image is that the tree looks like the one Dottore has or will burn. Oh, you mean this one? Yeah, it kind of does. Like, we did assume it was going to be Irminsul that he was burning, but, like, it could be another tree that looks like it. That's quite possible. Actually, I wonder if it's possible that, there are trees that look like Irminsul that might control different subspaces, kind of like how Irminsul is like the kind of the core of the world to that. If you have like a subspace, like a domain, for example, and there's a tree in there and you burn that tree, if it kind of like destroys a lot of the stuff in that little subspace that it belongs to, that kind of thing. Yeah. But one thing I will say is it is actually possible that the burning of the tree is kind of similar to this one scene from the trailer for Inazuma, where the traveler was underwater and came face to face with like a giant whale-like behemoth in the water. And we never got to see that scene either. And I've been wondering if they've been teasing scenes like that don't occur in the patch, but will occur way far in the future. And when we get to that point, we'll get there and be like, wait a second. You son of a nice lady. Didn't the Dendro Dragon eat King Deshret? Yes and no. So, okay. So the thing about Deshret dying twice, okay? If you can hear my logic back in the beginner's guide to Sumeru if you really want to go through the whole thing. But here's the thing. Deshret was around for the fall of Gurabad because he was the one who split Lilupar into 7 pieces. And then Gurabad fell, but then Deshret stopped ruling the desert, basically. And it started the era of city-states, if memory serves. So Deshret basically went into a sort of hibernation at that point. And when he sealed Lilupar, my theory is that he had left Gurabad for an extended period of time and under her care, because she was basically married to the king of the whole place. He was working on the Golden Slumber. And part of the goal of the Golden Slumber was to separate his mind from his body, right? And when he did that, his body was left upon the throne where it was eaten by worms, or so the legend goes. But we know that Apep ate his body. The thing is, Deshret resurfaces years later, because if he died there on his throne, there is no reason why Rukkhadevata would seal him later. Now, in Sino's story quest, we learn that after the fall of Gurabad, Hermanubis was very busy holding back Deshret and the forbidden knowledge that he brought forth. So, in the very beginning of this teaser, you can see that Deshret is above his own mausoleum. And a mausoleum is where you put the dead. So if he died in Kajnasut, which is where the Golden Slumber is, and his body was there and Apep ate him, then his soul would have been separated. And you would have seen his sages, his 7 sages, of which Apep was one. Hermanubis in particular would have sealed him inside of this mausoleum, which is why there's a coffin there. And at some point, Hermanubis lost it and was no longer able to hold back King Deshret, or someone forcibly broke the seal and that hurt Hermanubis, or someone, sabotaged, whatever. It could have been any number of things. But the point is, he couldn't hold it back anymore. Deshret breaks free. Now he's over his mausoleum. And now this time, there's no Hermanubis to hold him back anymore. So they have to request aid from Rukkhadevata. Rukkhadevata does this thing where she helps build these 7 towers, and she infuses them with her divine power as part of the seal. And then she uses a ridiculous amount of power to seal the soul of King Deshret here. So he died twice, once as a body and then once as a ghost. Anyway, you guys didn't know that Apep was a sage? Okay, so 2 things. 2 things. There's a quick way to do this, actually. I think there's a U in there. Dialogues of the Desert Sages, that's what it is. Okay. First off, here's the first mention of it. When we got the Dialogues of the Desert Sages event, we got this one. The dragon who obtained the flesh and blood of the king because she ate him, who never really counted herself amongst the 7, but was part of the 7 sages of King Deshret. She was named Apep, the Apep. Right? Now, if you go back to the Temple of Silence in Cyno's story quest, there are NPCs you can talk to. One of them in particular tells you more about each of these 7 sages that are talked about in the Dialogue of the Desert Sages. And she talks about Apep too. So we can confirm that this is actually correct. Fun fact. And because Hermanubis was a real person, we can assume that the rest of them were also real people. And we got to see them, actually. We did get to see them. Would there be anyone else thus far that would attempt to steal? I actually think Hermanubis couldn't hold him back anymore. Based on what it is, I'm already in spoiler territory. I wonder if I should just bring it up. I feel like I should probably just bring up the video at this point. Did they not post Cyno's thing? Well, they might not have posted Cyno's. Oh, wait, no, they must have. Oh, I guess they didn't. They didn't post Cyno's cutscene yet? Come on. I guess it's not time yet. It'll probably be like another week. Yeah, the way that it's set up, like the way the story is told, Hermanubis kind of crumbles towards the end of it. Like, and it's said that he spent all this time holding back the forbidden knowledge of King Deshret and guarding the mausoleum. And that's kind of why I'm like, yeah, he basically was the one responsible for sealing King Deshret in the mausoleum. But he's not a god at the level of Rukkhadevata, right? Like, he's more like Adepti or yokai level, like Yaemiko kind of thing, or Xianyan. And if you think about it, they might not have the same capacity to seal or whatnot. So my guess is that his seal failed, and so they had to beseech Rukkhadevata, who came up with a more permanent solution. Anyway. Anywho, so he's Gwolbatir. Yeah, Gwolbatir. That's a good way to put it. Gwolbatir, demigod. Demigod, yeah, maybe. A lesser god-ish kind of thing. One with less authority. Or maybe Rukkhadevata, well, because, okay, so technically, maybe, this is speculation. It would make sense in context. So here's some speculation. I think what could have happened is that Hermanubis created a seal temporarily, and Rukkhadevata was actually using the Akasha to find a solution for the forbidden knowledge, because that was the original purpose of the Akasha system, right? So it's possible that Hermanubis was buying her time to find a more permanent solution. So it might not even be related to power levels, because we saw it took a massive amount of power. She went from an adult to a child, basically, with the amount of power that she expended. That is possible too. Boreas, thanks again for the super. Dane's quests are in a giant circle like the celestial nails. Maybe in the 5.0 quests, we'll open the gate under the desert. Yeah, there's still that gate to go through too. There's still that gate to go through too. But it always comes back to that desert, doesn't it? Ain't that interesting? But yeah, like there's this patch is gonna have so much in it. There's so much in it. I think this is also the first time that we've heard Dainsleif wants revenge. Is it? I feel like it is. Like we've always known he has a vendetta against the Abyss Order and everything, but like I feel like this concept of revenge with him is new. I don't remember it being there before. Oh, did Farley link one? I can go look. Oh, it's Noxus. Yeah. Noxus always has those. Hold on. Hold on. This is opening in the wrong default browser. I'm not going to show this part. I just want to show this part. Yeah, so here's the mausoleum, right? And later on, we actually get to see all of the sages but a pep. We've got Thoth over here. We've got Sobek. We've got what was the goat one? I forgot his name. Again with an H. I don't remember. We've got Sessapunk and we've got Banu, and then we've got Hermanubis down here at the bottom. Oh, this is a better shot. And then we've got Destrid up here on a throne. So yeah, like it's it is implied that we've got this big thing here. It's actually possible that the reason this was actually like pulling in all this energy or whatnot was to seal him. That might have been part of it. We don't actually know that. We never actually figured out why that happened. There we go. We wait, because he starts to crumble when he can't hold back the forbidden knowledge anymore. Yeah. There he goes. Bye. Yep. So it doesn't actually show him with the thing there. But this is kind of interesting because this forbidden knowledge dropping and rippling is the same effect that happened when we sealed Deshret. Well, when Ruka Devada sealed Deshret. That is the same animation that plays. Almost. Well, it's not. But it's same kind of animation. The black ripple dropping kind of thing. So I think it's allegorical. Can I prove it? Nope. Cannot. But anyway, that's kind of the point. That's one of the point. Do we think Hoya will merge Dane and Abyss Twin stuff into the main region Archon quest eventually? Yeah, but I think it'll basically happen like at the end of Snezhnaya or something. Where like two plots, like the Fatui's plot and the Twins plot, like the Abyss Order's plot, will like coincide and come at odds or something like that. I think that's probably when we'll see it start to overlap. I mean, we know that we have to fight Dane at the end of the game. We know that because it's in Travail, right? Like he says, convince me to stand aside, show me that you are more worthy than I to rescue her or whatever. So like we know that he'll do that. Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be a thing. I'm just excited. I just haven't seen him phrase it as revenge. Like, I know he has his own motives and they may not be pure, but like, I didn't quite think it was revenge. And then it's revenge against who, right? Like, is he getting revenge against? Is he trying to get revenge against Celestia or the Abyss Order or the Twin or like what? How strong do we think Dane is? Oh, I think Dane's probably on like a whole different level. Do we know if forbidden knowledge is the same thing as abyssal energy or are they separate? I would say that what we do know is that forbidden knowledge is a type of abyssal energy. I wouldn't say that it is abyssal energy in its entirety, but it is confirmed that forbidden knowledge is what you find at the bottom of the abyss. So it is abyssal energy, but it may not be that all abyssal energy is forbidden knowledge, if that makes sense. But the Archon and Celestia, yeah, I mean, it might be. I mean, maybe he just wants to get revenge on the world at large. Who knows? I mean, there are people who are like that. It's definitely possible. This cutscene's kind of wild. I hope it's for the event because I hope it's actually ridiculous. I hope the event is ridiculous and fun and silly. She's got a really cool idle animation with the bullets and the gun. I like it. Off topic, but you ever read Hermann Hesse's Demian? Two worlds is a central theme in it, not to mention how Hesse took lots of inspiration from Gnosticism and Jung like Hoyo. I have not read it, no. Do I have a Discord? I do. It is kind of sort of limited, not really limited to members, but I use the YouTube membership as a sort of moderation pre-screening process so that I don't have to deal with a lot of spam bots and that kind of stuff. So generally if you get gifted a sub or if you buy a sub even just for 1 month, which is like 99 cents, then you basically have unlimited access forever. It's just a method to keep my moderators from wanting to hunt me down. And I like to keep them happy. So there's that. What do you think the reason is those particular characters are in the upcoming event or just too early to tell? It's probably way too early to tell. I would assume that, okay, so the event is basically Dungeons and Dragons, guys. Like, I don't know how many of you know this, but Clorand and Navia played Dungeons and Dragons together. And so they're going to play it with us. And so my guess is that, like, Linny and them are basically showing up because he's the bard of Fontaine so far. Oh, so I wanted to talk about one thing with Siegewin. Okay. So I think you guys are all kind of familiar with a general theory I have right now. Because I've kind of brought it up in a few different videos, but I think I went over it most in the Arlecchino video. The last one. The one where I called her a penguin. No, I'm not gonna elaborate. You can go watch it. The thing about Siegewin is that she's like the one Melazine that is very human. And we already had one Hydro Dragon that got born in human form. And I got thinking that if we're basically doing dragons all the way down, which is my current theory, which would suggest that humans are made out of dragony stuff, I'm actually wondering if human shapes are almost a form of convergent evolution and that Siegewin is a mutation, basically. If she was originally a regular Melazine, or should have been, but had a genetic mutation during her birth, and it just so happened to mutate into something more human-like. A lot of people have speculated that like one of her parents is human. I guess it's possible, but also very strange. I don't think Hoyo will go that route just because there is a lot of emphasis on dragons and the concept of evolution in general, especially with the fragments of a pep. Like that whole thing was all about evolution and how you need a lot of time for it to happen and that kind of stuff. So I've been thinking about that quite a bit. Do you think a pep could take humanoid form just how like Nouvelette has a humanoid body now? I would assume so. I would assume so. Like, I would assume that dragons can control their shape, right? Because like even the fragments of a pep, for example, they could change their shape. It just took them a lot of time. Now, my guess is that the stronger you are, the less time that might take in order to be able to acquire that shape. But my guess is that if the Adepti can do it, why can't the dragons control their shape? Like, I think in the case of Nuvolette, he was born in the shape of a human, so that is his default form. Whereas he can shift back into a dragon form or a dragon-ish form. We've seen some of it. Like, you can kind of see he gains we call them antenna, I guess, like kind of like fishy antenna kind of stuff, little head trail things, and also kind of like fins being formed out of his coat and that kind of stuff. So like I would assume that he would have some sort of bishop or dragon type form, you know. Um, but that's that the human one is his default one, and that's probably because of the whole thing with Egeria and everything else. With Focalors taking over, I would assume that that's why. But yeah, I would guess that a pep could take a smaller form. That would be really cool. Oh, Kumzi, thank you for the 10 gifted. If you guys got a gift from Kumzi, say thank you. And make sure that you follow the instructions on the community tab on the YouTube channel. And that will basically tell you how to sync your YouTube account to your Discord. Or well, not really. Not really that. It's it syncs your YouTube account to your Discord account so that it gives you automatic access to the Discord server, which is full of a lot of really cool and really smart people. What was that about Nuvolette being born after Egeria's death, though? Are you going to make a video on it? I mean, I'm going to mention it because it got confirmed during the Remuria quest. But I'm not going to make like its own video on that because it was basically heavily implied prior to Remuria, but then Remuria was like, yeah, so this is what happened. And we're just like, oh yeah, okay, so you just confirmed our speculations. That's great. So that's that. This just stream just start. How much did I miss? Oh, it's been almost 3 hours. It's been a hot minute. I mean, reincarnated, right? I don't like the idea of reincarnation necessarily for this particular instance because reincarnation to me implies that you're the same soul that got put into a new body or new form, but you're no longer the same person. Which in this game means that you don't retain your memories from your previous life, right? Because you've experienced a death. So it might be the same soul going from thing to thing, but you don't retain those memories and experiences with you. The thing about Nuvolette is that after he regained his powers, he regained his memories as well. So I don't necessarily think that I can call that reincarnation so much as rebirth. But that's kind of semantics, you know? Like, I feel like if I really push the envelope on that one, I'm just being pedantic. Will I ever try covering the lore of Wuthering Waves? I gave an explanation of this at the beginning of the stream. If you want to scroll back, it's at the very, very beginning. But probably not. I don't think I can mentally handle 2 open world RPGs. I just don't think I can. Am I going to do a recap of the Remuria quest? I missed almost all of it thanks to Hoyo and their obsession with putting bosses for characters behind a locked area. Wait, why did that make you lose it? Like, the boss is right at the beginning of Remuria. Like, it's not... It's like you get introduced to the cat and then you go downstairs and then the boss is right there. Did you do the whole quest so you could get to the boss and then realize that you didn't have to do that? I was gonna say it's like 5 minutes in. You had to rush it till the end. No, 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 no. It's like right at the start. Like right when you enter the underground or underwater area, like the castle, basically. Once you hit the castle, which is the first place you go, instead of like going straight up the stairs, you just take a left and the boss is right there. And I know this because I pulled Arlecchino on the same day and I didn't want to boot up my computer to record the whole quest because I didn't have time, but I still wanted to fight the boss. Um, and I know I unlocked it that way. So there's that. But yeah, no, I will be doing a recap of it. I do a patch recap every patch, even the patches that are boring. Although last time I was so late on it, I just combined 4.4 and 4.5 together in one patch recap, which was kind of a pain. But you know, you also skip all non-voiced quests. That's a shame because the non-voiced quests are some of the game's best writing. Hmm. It's a real shame. The world quests are some of the most interesting and cool stories in the entire game. Yeah, the Narcissism Kreuz was peak. Actual peak. Can you only get a YouTube membership if you are on the desktop? I don't think so. I think you can get it anywhere. I get notifications for it on my phone. Like say, hey, you should join this channel. It does that a lot. They're with Hana Chirisato. Yeah. The Sacred Sakura Cleansing Quest is where it all started. That's where they really started to get good. Because like the Dragon Spine one was good, but it was also just like not really a quest. It was just kind of like a way to sort of guide you through Dragon Spine. But like, yeah, once we hit Inazuma, that's where the world quests got really good. And it's one of the reasons why like you can kind of forgive Inazuma's Archon quest for being a little bit of a mess. Although it makes more sense in hindsight, but like when it happened, it was a bit of a mess. Like you could really forgive it because the world quests were really good. Big world quests deserve voice actors with how long they are. Yeah, I mean they are quite good. They are quite good. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say on all of this kind of stuff. I'm more just kind of baffled and overwhelmed because there's gonna be so much to talk about. I mean, look at this theater. Where is it? Yeah, look at this theater, man. Look at this. What is this? Like this is the Imaginarium Theater. This is crazy. There's a god named Quetzalcoatl in Mayan culture that's referred to as a feathered serpent who's phoenix-like. Phoenix that once ruled was talked about in the game. I forgot where it was said though. Yeah, there's a lot of uh I think a lot of the references to the phoenix in game are either in Liwa because the phoenix and the dragon are signs of the empress and the emperor and that they kind of get alluded to together. Um but there's also what do you call it? What do you call it? Fanes or Fanus. I call him Fanes. I think Fane sounds cooler than Fanus. I keep wanting to turn the N and never mind. Um in the Narcissenkreuz quest, especially, Jacob was just like, yeah, so now a pheasant sits upon a throne. It's like a throne of dirty feathers. There's a lot of allegory like references to the throne of heaven being a bird, most likely a phoenix. So. Baby Yoda of the August clan. Hi. Thanks for the super. In Buddhism, one can regain past life memories by achieving enlightenment. Yeah, I guess that's fair. I guess that's fair. That's why I said I wasn't really going to push it too hard because, like, it really is semantics at this point. Like, for me, it's different, but I'm also not Buddhist. So, if I argue too hard, then, I'm basically going against the beliefs of others, which is kind of not the goal here. So that's why I'm just gonna be like, yeah, it's fine. It's close enough. It's close enough. But yeah, these planets, man, this kind of split and all that. I don't know. I don't like how this whole area is turning into space with this weird black fog. Hey, can someone explain this to me? Hilichurl. Golden butterflies. Now we're looking through the Hilichurl's eyes. It's wearing a mask. How is it seeing me? Someone explain this to me. Will I be using the new library as my background if there's like really good spots in there? Yes, absolutely. Those are the woo-wah say, you know what? The first collaboration we've got since Aloy, and it's with woo-wah. We just exchanged. That'd be really funny. That would be really funny to have another collaboration, and it was with woo-wah. I actually think that's not actually unrealistic. Am I playing woo-wah? I kind of am. I don't think I can handle 2 open world games though, so I might not keep up with it. And they got one big hilly eye each. Yeah, but it's under a mask. How is he looking at me? Wait, there was a good shot of it. I want to see it. Let me see the Eternal Oasis. Let me see it. Gimme. Come on. Fast little jump cuts. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. Or maybe I won't. Oh, my oasis. That was weird. Oh, it's his foot. I thought it was his hand. I thought he was reaching up for the sky. Am I crazy? Did I like not see the scene that I thought I saw? Where'd it go? Am I just not in the right spot? That could happen too. Okay, I'm gonna go on the actual trailer because that might be where I was. Much there it is. That was the one I saw. That was the one I saw, but then there's another one where it like zooms. But maybe it's not on this side. Maybe it was on the other side. Oh no, it's right here. I wanted a good shot of. Dang it! Stop being so fast. Oh, crying out loud. Why is my friend there? It is. That's good enough. Yeah. Interesting tree. Yeah, I know I can use those to navigate on my keyboard, but for some reason it's not taking. Like I'm pressed. Oh, well now it's working. I hate YouTube sometimes. Can you just work consistently, please? It'd be nice. Thank you. Why would Dainsleif ask the traveler if they believe they were betrayed? The traveler has never showed signs that they think in such a way. I don't know. Dainsleif is a bit of a mystery. We don't know the inner machinations of his mind. They are an enigma. Yeah. For some reason, you can't see the membership area on the phone. You know, YouTube's friggin' interface is kind of awful. Okay, you know where it is? It's hidden, which is really stupid. If they want people to join channels as members and like so much of their traffic comes from their phones, they should really move this. So if you close the live chat on your phone and then you go to where it says like however many people are watching started 2 hours ago, and then there's the more, tap more and it will bring up the description. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom without expanding the description, you will see a thing that says my name and then the subscriber count, and then it says thank you channel members, and there's a tiny little link that says join. And that's how you join on the phone, which is the worst UI choice. I don't understand. YouTube, what are you doing? First shorts, then this. I don't get it. People are trying to set their own company on fire sometimes, I swear. Sorry, small rant. It annoys me a lot. I don't understand a lot of YouTube's choices. It's yeah, it's frustrating. I find it particularly frustrating. And now I've lost my chat. Thank you very much, YouTube, for hiding everything from me. Stop it, stop it, stop. There it goes. Hi chat, I'm back. Yeah, so that's where it is. That's where it is. That's where it is. Could be worse. Coughs and Axina. Yeah. Yeah. In Android, join button is, but I'm on Android. I'm looking at it on Android and it's not there. I wonder if it's like depending on your phone's aspect ratio. I wonder if it's like more like that. It's hard to say. But I'm on Android. I am on Android. It's not there. It's like legitimately not there on mine. So I don't know what to tell you, but it's not there on mine. I'm on Android. I'm looking at my Red Magic screen right now, and I don't know. I think it might have to do with aspect ratio. It probably depends on how big your phone is. Well, my dogs are getting antsy, which means that it's probably time for me to close things out for the day. Red Magic partnership terminated. No, listen. Guys, if you like Wuthering Waves, it actually runs really, really well on the Red Magic 8 and 9 out of the box with no modifications. Just saying. So, yeah, anyway. And it doesn't even drain the battery that much. I was kind of surprised. It runs about as well as Genshin. Which is very surprising because it's got memory leaks and all sorts of stuff. So I was quite surprised that I didn't run into any issues on the Red Magic, whereas a lot of people I know who have phones that technically have higher specs than the one I have are struggling. So it's a little all over the place. I don't know what the deal is, but it's working here, so I'm just gonna leave it. Sponsored BT dubs. Yep. Nope. Well, I'm not sponsored right now. Not technically. It's not like I have a link that gives me affiliate payments or anything. So yeah, the memory. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys are all enjoying all sorts of stuff. There's so much good stuff out there. I am actually hoping that Wuthering Waves makes a bit of a recovery. This has been a pretty horrific launch with all of the technical issues. Like, I feel really, really, really bad for Guro for having to deal with this. Like, their devs must be exhausted trying to fix everything and get the game into a place where it needs to be. And I don't blame the devs for any of this, honestly. Their situation with their executives is a bit I can't even put it into words. It's just a bit of a nightmare, so I feel really bad for them. But yeah, it's gonna be good. So hopefully if you can play it, it plays well. I hope you guys are all enjoying it. I played quite a bit during the second beta, and I really did enjoy my time with it. I just know for a fact that if I join a second live service open world that's of a similar scope to Genshin, that I will burn out, and I will burn out fast. And burnout is my greatest enemy because I've just come out of burnout and I don't want to go back there. It's unpleasant. I don't like it. So, yeah. But yeah, have lots of fun. Wuthering Waves right now, and then for those of you who are not playing or who are crazy enough to want to play yet another gacha game, Zenless Zone Zero's out in July, I think. Which will be what I want to play. I'm actually most excited for that. And after that, I think the only game I'm looking forward to for the rest of this year is Refantasio Metaphor. That one looks good. That's not a gacha game. That's like a game I don't feel bad recommending because a gacha game, it's just a single game. Although there's a lot of indie games that I've been picking up and playing on and off. Animal Well was really cool. I didn't play that much of it. I only played like 30 minutes of it, and then I'm like, shit, I can't play the rest of this right now. I gotta go somewhere else and do something else. You mean Persona 6? No, well, yeah, I get what you say that, but yeah. Deltarune Chapter 3 this year. Oh yeah, that's probably true. And then maybe if we're lucky, Silksong. Maybe. AFK Journey. I tried AFK Journey and it was cute and all that, but I don't think AFK games are for me. I am the kind of person who just forgets about AFK games, and then it's like 6 months later I'm like, oh, right, that was a thing. Oh, the Paper Mario 1000-Year Door remake has been fantastic so far. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I still have the original, so I just play the original. But I've heard the remake has been really good, and I'm so glad. That's like one of my favorite games of all time. It's like the one game I will defend until death. So like I am so glad that people finally have a way to get to play it, because it is one of my favorite games. Period. Did I enjoy Hollow Knight's lore? It was my autistic hyperfixation before Genshin's lore. I did like Hollow Knight's lore. I wasn't in that community for very long, but like I watched a bunch of lore videos, and I thought that the overall setting was really cool. Like I did enjoy my time with it. I'm not good enough at those kinds of games to actually beat it though. So like I played halfway through it and I'm just like, yep, this is kind of my limit. And then I went and I watched somebody else play for the rest of it. So yeah. Metroid Prime 4. I've heard rumors of that, but I don't know what's gonna happen with that one. Mossbag the Goat, yeah. Well, there's also the Elden Ring DLC too, right? Like, there's lots of stuff to look forward to this year. It's a great year for games so far. You want the kitty game in a big city or something? I don't know what you're talking about. What kitty game? Thoughts on Raiden slicing the firmament eventually? Hey, maybe. Did it in Star Rail. She might do it in Genshin too. Who knows? Yeah. Well, anyway, I think I'm gonna call it there. I don't have anything else to say. I'm just gonna end up sitting here and shooting the shit with people, and my dogs are staring. You should see the look on Fenris's face. She looks like she's ready. She looks like a teenager whose mom just told her that she can't go out at 10 o'clock at night and hang out with her friends. She's staring at me just like that. Thoughts on the definitely coming war? We'll talk about it in the recap. Yeah, anyway. So I'm going to sign off. Thank you guys so much for showing up. Like I said in the beginning, I'm going to try and stream more regularly starting in June when my job finally ends and I start shifting things around a bit. So look forward to that. I'm going to try to stream things beyond just Genshin 2. We might even stream some Wuthering Waves. I might not talk much about its lore because I'm not that invested in it right now, so I don't expect anyone to actually listen to me talk about that. But we'll play Genshin, we'll play Star Rail, and when it comes out, we'll play Zenless. So thanks so much for coming out, guys. I appreciate it, even though I have these long absences. But yeah, I hope you're excited. I am. I'll see you later. Bye.